campfire, midsummer night.
Okay. So we had Chad Bradford in. Somebody decided to oversleep. Hey, I mean, when you run around as much as you do, opening businesses and everything else left and right, I mean, I guess you probably needed a nap.
Yeah, you got a nap every now and then.
I think I did need it.
Yeah.
I woke up and I saw your text, and he's like, you coming down here to the studio? And I was like, oh shit, I didn't remember that was tonight. And then I was like,
I almost
so
sent you a
sorry.
message earlier that day just to make sure. And I sent Chad a message probably about 4:35, and I meant to message you the same time. So I'll take the blame for that one.
To keep on me, you really gotta we gotta be in like real time.
Oh, me too.
My wife will tell you the same thing. Like you gotta text him that day or the day before,
Yeah,
so he puts it in his head and remembers.
I literally forget everything.
Yeah, I got bipolar, so I mean, that's the whole reason why I'll focus on this.
Yep.
And it'd be like, it'd be horse and blinders, and everything else just is.
Yep, I'm saying.
And I don't mean it to be that way. Like, no disrespect to anybody.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah,
it's just how my brain works.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
Yep.
I can literally be doing something and completely forget what I'm doing while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And that's what's aggravating.
Sure.
And it ain't the marijuana, that's for sure. I'll be sober Steve when this happens. It'll be like first thing in the morning, right after I have my coffee. Should be the peak performance moment of the day. And I get to town and I'm like, where was I going?
Right.
What the hell am I doing in town?
Yeah.
And to the point where I'm like, do I have early onset Alzheimer's, or like what is going on? Like it's bad.
Alzheimer's.
It's got to be something. Maybe it's just a lazy brain.
How was your bulldozing today?
No, it was horrible. It was hot as hell, man. And I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Do you need somebody
I forgot you
I
knew
told
it.
you.
I know. I just thought of it. Man,
I run D6s and D9s almost my whole entire life on the farm.
I have been fighting the same underground spring for going on 4 or 5 months now.
You're trying to get a pond, right? Isn't that what
No,
you're trying
this
to
is
do?
a totally different area.
Oh, okay.
This is my driveway.
I got you.
And I'm just trying to get the water to quit coming out.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, it ain't going to happen. So my solution was, okay, there's a lot of water coming out. Let's just put more dirt on top of it. Well, that's what I did. Twice.
Yeah.
And it did not work. So then I had a big muddy mess. I mean, I had a mud bog. I should have had a mud bog for real. And then I had to push all the mud out and let it all dry, and then figure out where the water's coming from and fix a ditch. And
hey, y'all, don't forget, in 2 years we're gonna have Cold Springs National Park down here in Skyline, Alabama.
It'll be right on top of the mountain. We'll have the biggest mud bog you ever seen. It'll be crazy. I think I got it this time because I put rock in.
We're gonna have geysers.
Yeah, might have really much sinkhole something. It won't be good. I wouldn't drive my equipment across it. That's for sure. I have no clue what I'm doing.
Feel sorry for Scottsboro. They're on the bottom of all this.
It rolls downhill. Sure. Well, I never claimed to be a heavy equipment operator. That's for sure.
So I did something at work. One of the girls at work, she said something about being the jack of all trades. I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess to an extent, jack of all trades, but I'm the master of none.
Yeah,
that's me.
I mean, that's male disease, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
I think it is too.
I think it definitely is. It's kind of like, doing something and then reading the instructions afterwards. I've never read the instructions.
I always at least start without reading the instructions until I get to a point where I'm like, what?
I usually make it to the parts list, and then I'm like, yeah, screw this. I'm like, it's all here.
It's here, and I'll figure it out. I mean, I see what it looks like on the box.
And then your smoker's got a belly down on the bottom, and your smoke box is way up here on the top.
I bought it before I built this desk. I had ordered an Amazon special, and it was a piece of crap, and it looked horrible. But anyways, I put it together 3 times.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, and then I threw it out the door and gave it away.
Yeah,
because I was so pissed off
Smart
that it
move.
wasn't going to work. I was like, man,
I would have gave it away too.
Yeah, good old Amazon discs, Amazon furniture, worse than IKEA.
Hey, be careful, our chairs are from Amazon.
Our whole sound system's from Amazon. I think the only thing except for the iPod or iPad, everything else did. Well, we'll dive into a little weed talk. So how many stories you got now?
I got a lot.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do. Keep popping them up.
Who are you
Yeah.
first?
Oh yeah, this is John Dietz, Mountaintop Dispensary, our cannabis guru, if you'll say that.
Our legal cannabis.
Our
guru.
legal can. I can't have the other one on.
Yeah.
I can't have my real guru on.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
not
we're,
legal
we're
yet.
we're as legal as legal can get here in
It
here
is.
in Northeast Alabama.
So explain a little bit of that to me. So it not being a recreational drug, and with the Cannabis Commission dragging their damn feet, how can you do what you do legally?
So we are licensed by the state of Alabama under the Department of Agriculture and Industries under the hemp program.
Okay.
All right. So people try to differentiate marijuana and hemp from each other, but the honest thing is that there's only one plant,
Right.
and it's called Cannabis sativa,
Right.
and it is literally it's bred for either this cannabinoid or it's bred for no cannabinoids and bred for fibers and hempcrete and industry work,
Right.
which is really starting to take off.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Big.
You're seeing it. It's
I mean, I don't know if y'all seen it on YouTube and
oh,
reels
yeah.
and
The hemp
stuff.
farms.
They're
and all that.
they're
Yeah.
building houses up and
Yeah.
they're throwing this stuff up.
It's
These
hemp
fibers,
insulation,
insulation.
all types
Yeah,
of stuff.
the fiber industry is going great.
Yeah.
All right. So there's another portion of the industry, and that industry is the consumer industry. And so what that is the consumer industry is consumables. So people are using this under the 2018 Farm Bill that was passed by the federal government to allow them to smoke these products, ingest these products, so on and so forth. And that's what we do. We work up
Was
underneath
that the Farm Bill?
We work up underneath the federal Farm Bill, which Alabama has kind of worked with, but we're considered a total THC state, which means um, you can't grow certain hemp inside of our state, but you can import it from another state into this state.
So the THC
A, yep,
content
yep,
is not regulated if it comes from another state.
correct. I can literally bring in 14 18-wheeler truckloads a day and process it as a legal licensed processor in the state of Alabama.
No matter the content.
No matter the content. Yep, as long as it falls up underneath 0.3% or lower Delta 9 THC.
Okay.
But the thing about that is that you don't want Delta 9 THC unless you're working with edibles.
Right.
Because Delta 9 is already an active THC, which means as an edible, you're eating it, your body's actually dissolving it, and it's going through the liver and getting processed, and then you're getting your relief, your relaxation,
Right.
your euphoria, your high, so on and so forth. So THCA is a different compound, but it's also found in marijuana as well. So it's always high concentrated. So when it's decarboxylated, which means either fire is set to it or it's heated up to a certain temperature.
And it has to be that for an edible.
Correct, correct. And so therefore it goes from THCA to Delta 9 in the body. So therefore,
because you've activated it.
because you've activated it.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. So marijuana has always had THCA in it. And matter of fact, if you go to any legal dispensary, Michigan, Colorado, Oregon, California, so on and so forth, all you're buying is THCA. Because if you're buying flower to smoke, you need that high THCA for it to convert to Delta 9 to get that reaction, to get that effect that you're looking for.
Now what about HHC?
So HHC is a hydrogenated. To me it's a synthetic. So I have a master's degree in chemistry, focus in organics. To HHC to us is a hydrogenated version of THC. It's used as a synthetic, but it's super powerful. It is
Right.
very powerful. And then you've got Delta 8, which is also synthetic. It's a synthetic off of CBD. Basically, you're taking a molecular chain. If you look at it on a molecular chart,
Mhm.
you take CBD, you're starting to expose THC from CBD. And then THCO is the next version after Delta 8. The DEA has already ruled on that THCO is a
No go.
no go, but there's no enforcement.
But why do you think that they triggered, or
Because they don't
they
know?
went after that one?
Well, two things. One, they don't know, but two, it takes caustic chemicals to express this type of stuff.
So it's
Okay.
just more dangerous.
It is dangerous, and it could be dangerous to the consumer down the road.
Gotcha.
A lot of people don't understand that, and then there's a lot of people that'll disagree with me and say, "Oh, but we've sold this for X amount of years and blah blah blah," but you don't have any science to back this up. Okay, um, THCO and remnants of the process that it takes to get THCO and the process it takes to get Delta 8 is very nasty. And I'm talking about very caustic chemicals.
Really?
So, as far as like safety is concerned, for me, my opinion, it would be better to have a Delta 8 or a THCO edible, but not as a inhalable. So, I wouldn't I wouldn't go with Delta 8 vapes. I wouldn't
Right.
go with THCO vapes and things like that. Personally, my personal opinion, and my education tells
Right,
me
right.
that it ain't safe.
Right. It
It's
ain't
not.
like it's just something
No,
you read on the
no,
internet. I mean,
no,
you know your
There's
shit.
science
no.
behind
Yeah.
it.
There is science behind it. Yeah, and
Yes.
any time they're talking about, hey, parts per million of these caustic chemicals being traced left behind on this process, I mean that's still going into your body.
Right.
Okay, so even if it was, they say parts per hundred is even more dangerous.
Hmm.
So a lot of people are reliant upon what we consider in the industry COAs. COAs are certificates of authenticity or certificate of analysis, which means basically a third party lab has tested it full panel for hard metals, poisons, dilutants. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So,
Hmm.
yeah, but I'm not a big fan of the synthetic
Really?
side. Yeah, I'm organic.
Yeah.
I'm really organic.
I know it's probably been close to 10 years ago now. There was a big thing with synthetic marijuana going, like it started really popping. Is that what you're talking about? Or is that a
No,
completely different? 'Cause
Talking about spice.
that was
Spice.
spice.
That's the word I was looking
That
for.
was
That's the
spice.
word I was looking
Yeah.
for. What?
So spice is not even THC.
It's not even in the same realm.
No,
Yeah.
what they were doing is they were actually spraying different vegetable and plant organic compounds that looked like crushed up cannabis in a bag.
Regardless of what it was.
It could have been oregano.
I got
Okay.
I got a pretty good one when
Yeah.
it comes to
Yeah, it could have. Yeah, it could have looked like oregano.
So I have a cousin, and he was an idiot, still an idiot, probably in jail. He might
Me
be
too.
in jail.
Me too.
But anyways,
Oh.
this dude shows up one day, and I hadn't when I had my daughter, I quit smoking completely because it was time to grow up. That was the mentality I had.
A lot of people did.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just one of those. It's illegal, so I'm not going to do it.
Yep.
So now, don't get me wrong. If I was at a Kid Rock concert or this or that, something's getting passed around. Well, yeah, I'm probably going to hit it. Well,
that dude that doesn't replace cocaine.
Yeah.
I mean, if cocaine was going around back then, I probably would have hit that too. Ain't gonna lie.
But it was kind of one of those times to where, I wasn't doing anything like that. So he shows up and he's sitting there telling me, and he's like, man, I got this stuff from the gas station the other day. And I'm watching a movie while he's telling me this. He's like, I'm telling you, he's like, I put some in a pipe, and he's like, I smoked it. And he said, I thought I was going to go to the hospital. I thought I was dying, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just kind of watching my movie, not paying attention. And he's like, man, if you want it, you can have it. And I was, I'll go get it. And he's like, okay, I'm still watching my movie. And he comes in, it's a little bag and it has Scooby-Doo on it. It says Scooby Snacks. In my head, I'm thinking this is some new legal marijuana.
Sure.
I don't know what spice is. I have no idea. I had done salvia divinorum before, something along those lines. So that's what I'm thinking in my head. Well, I packed his little bowl and I'm sitting there watching TV, still watching my movie, and I hit it about 3 times. And I'm not paying any attention to him. And I look over at him and he's going, and I'm just kind of looking at him like, what? And he's like, dude, I'm telling you, I hit it once and thought I was dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
About then,
It hit you.
it hit.
Yeah.
The last thing I remember is me laying on the floor in my living room. And it was so long ago. This is back when we had home phones, I'm laying on the floor and I see the home phone get stood right in front of my face. And I hear him talking and I hear the door shut. And I'm like, well, he just came in here, caused me to overdose, and left me.
Yep.
That's what's in my head.
Yeah.
Like, I'm dying.
For sure.
Yeah.
The only thing I could think was in my bedroom for panic attacks, I had some Xanax in there.
And he was going to take those to come
I
down.
got to crawl to my bedroom to get to those Xanax. I made it about halfway down the hallway and passed out. I woke up, had a kind of funny feeling. I mean, it was a couple hours later. I was out. If I could have found my cousin, I'd have killed him. I mean, I was like, what the
Yep.
hell did you give me? And he's like, dude, I'm telling you, I bought it at a gas station.
Yeah.
So that was the time that I accidentally smoked spice thinking it was marijuana.
Most of that,
Lesson learned there.
the
Big
fun,
time.
the crazy thing about that is that most of that stuff is sprayed with research chemicals from Russia
Wow.
and China.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. I wonder how they came up with salvia divinorum. Like that was kind of a crazy.
Salvia is an organic.
Yeah, it is organic.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
an intense
But
effect.
spice was actually a German engineered and a Russian engineered project. Yes, and it was literally, and the Germans and the Russians spend a lot of time doing research on different types of street drugs and narcotics
Huh.
that they can deliver to the masses, to the club scene, because that's where a
Right.
lot of this stuff starts. The European club scene is huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
Been there.
It's big.
Been there, done
It's
that.
big. Yes. And that's where those drugs start from.
Hmm.
And so they test the market with their dealers
Wow.
and allow their dealers to deal
Just
off in
feed
these
'em fat.
in these big nightclubs, these big discotheques. And you think we got nightclubs here in America. We're talking about we're
It's like
talking about
Vegas-style
the real
nightclubs everywhere over there.
we're talking about Studio 54 times 10,
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
All right. And so what they do is they send these products out, the manufacturer, the scientists will send these products out with the dealer and they'll try them on the club. And then next thing you know, boom, America's got it. Mexico's got it. South
Yeah, it goes
America's got it.
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And it's time to
Do
make
they
the
just
money.
not have any regulation over there, or is it all under the table?
It's under the table. I mean,
Okay.
it's underground done, but I mean, a good majority of the products that we see, even today, Molly,
Yeah.
X, all that was German. All that was German and Deutschland
Oh, wow.
manufactured. A lot of people don't know
Wow,
that.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it was all.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
all
interesting.
that stuff back in the day when we was kids in the 90s
Yeah.
that was we thought was clean dope.
Right.
It was no, it was just research chemicals, and then we were all getting played out to see whether what it would do.
Now, you were talking about clean dope. You just said something about clean dope. Made me think of this. I was watching an interview with a lady that had lost her kid to an accidental fentanyl overdose. And they had smoked marijuana, which why the hell somebody would put fentanyl in marijuana is beyond me. But the kid died from fentanyl. I actually had a cousin that kind of happened the same way.
Sure.
Well, their opinion was that I wish they would make everything legal. And I'd never really thought about it coming from the point of view of a parent or somebody that had lost somebody to an accidental, overdose of fentanyl, which has become a big thing, But their opinion was, well, at least then we would know that they were getting clean drugs.
So I'm kind of a Darwinist.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that is like,
Natural selection.
yep, is natural selection. Like, and I kind of agree with you to an extent about, go ahead and legalize it all,
See,
because if a
I
person's
don't, I
gonna,
don't feel that way. I mean, but I'd never really heard, an opinion coming from that place.
well, fentanyl and marijuana is very rare.
Oh yeah, you can
And
think so.
it is, and the reason why I say this is because the actual shelf life under temperature, that's what doesn't get discussed. That doesn't get discussed between the DEA. It doesn't get discussed by our local law enforcement. Doesn't get discussed by our local medical professionals. There is a temperature shelf life of fentanyl and carfentanil.
Really?
Yes. And so to see someone actually overdose from smoking cannabis that has been laced with fentanyl or carfentanil almost doesn't exist, because the temperatures that exceed over 1,000 and 1,400 Fahrenheit, there isn't a way that fentanyl and carfentanil can even exist.
So there's no smoking fentanyl, I guess, essentially, right?
No,
I mean, nobody
not in
freebases.
cannabis.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't know if they freebased fentanyl or
I've
not.
never
heard of it.
I've never seen freebase carfentanil or fentanyl.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
haven't either.
I've seen freebase heroin.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah, but I've never seen freebase synthetics such as fentanyl and carfentanil.
Fuck
I don't
fentanyl.
know. I personally don't know that exists because of the education that I've received. The temperature is outside of the broad ranges for it to even be potent. And so therefore that tells me that it's null and void after fire hits it.
Oh wow.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Huh.
I mean,
I guess it would be more predominant in edibles.
Well,
if
sure.
anything.
Well, I mean, just physical touch, it can come in
Right.
through your skin.
Right.
It's
like you see the cops overdosing and stuff.
Well,
Searching
that
the car.
or inhalation. So if they freaking happen to freaking slap something that had fentanyl on it, and that puffs up, and they happen to freaking get it on their skin or get it inside their nose,
It's scary.
it is
I mean,
scary.
it's scary.
I've seen videos. I mean, I'm not a fan of any of that. Period.
I had somebody on Facebook sitting there talking about, sign up here for your free Narcan. And, of course, me being my troll self, I had to jump in and give my opinions on Narcan and this and that. But, my opinion on Narcan these days is totally different. I think everybody should have some Narcan around.
I carry Narcan, and
need to.
Right,
Yep.
or somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
it could happen,
I carry Narcan in all of my vehicles. We actually offer intramuscular doses, actual syringes of Narcan from our shops.
That's good.
We offer nasal introduction Narcan from our shops.
A lot of people have that mentality. Oh, you don't save them. Don't do this. Don't do that.
So it isn't
what if
always
it's your kid that
correct.
grabs something random and
Correct.
overdoses on.
It's not always about the addict.
Right.
But sometimes for me it is about the addict.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
if you can save a life, by having it, why would you not?
I kind of played I played the addict role back in the 90s with cocaine when I was playing baseball.
Yeah.
So I mean, I kind of understand the other side of the coin. Just because I did cocaine back in the 90s didn't make me a great person. Of course, these people doing heroin and meth and so on and so forth, that's infused with fentanyl and carfentanil, that's an addiction. Addiction is addiction. It doesn't even matter whether it's Mountain Dew,
Right. Yep.
I mean, this is an addiction.
This is probably the only addiction that I've never been able to kick. I've done my share of drugs when I was younger. We're talking 20 years ago.
Sure.
So don't people get all butt hurt right now. It's like it's in the past. We're doing drugs. It's like, give me a line. But you look at it differently the older you get. Like I don't regret anything that I did because I learned from it. It made me who I am.
It was an experience.
It was an experience
and a learning experience.
It was.
That.
It was.
Yes.
But I was never a fiend. I was never in what you would say like in active addict.
Sure.
You know, I could do without it.
We wasn't out stealing hubcaps
No.
off of Cadillacs and
No.
flipping them at the pawn shop.
No, I compare myself more to the church dopers. You
Yeah.
know, the ones strung out on Adderall
Yeah.
and Adipex that
Yeah. Oof.
go say thank you Jesus every
That's
Sunday.
a whole nother.
Yeah.
God.
But people ain't ready to hear that.
No. Are they?
No,
Not
I
here.
don't.
You sure?
Not around.
Not in
here,
Jackson
they
County,
ain't.
they ain't?
No. I think our
Praise the
I
Lord.
think our diet clinic finally shut down.
Did they?
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Stop feeding those people that shit.
Man, it. You know,
Give a round of applause for that.
Goodbye, diet clinic.
Yeah.
Good riddance. But you know, that put a lot of people in a hurting spot. You
Of
know,
course it did.
and
Because now they're wanting to figure out where the hell the next diet clinic's at.
all the diet clinics now are giving Ozempic. They're like Adipex.
I don't
a
want
thing
that.
of the past.
I want that speed.
It shows who really wants to lose weight.
Right. And
quick
who wants the dope?
versus
And
who
who wants
wants
the dope?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to lose weight. They're coming in for the Ozempic and
Mhm.
Monjaro. They ain't coming in for the Adipex. If they want their high or need some motivation to get off the couch, they want the Adipex. And I've never, you know, my thing was never the speed. I never really wanted that tweaking speed. I wanted it with Xanax. You know, I wanted the speedball effect was what I always wanted. Back 20 years ago, say that again. But that was what I always chased. It wasn't the feeling of being up. I'm too lazy for that. You know, like if I did dope, that means I got to find shit to do.
Right.
You know, if I had a speedball, I can lay there and be like, ooh, you know, whatever for the entire evening. You know, not know my name. So that was my choice, I guess back then. You know,
Yeah.
which I mean, I did everything. I mean, there wasn't anything that I really didn't do. You know,
Our whole business, our actual whole business was built around a friend of mine that had overdosed on accident from some product that she had received that was cannabis, and it was laced with PCP.
ooh. And
So
that's something you never hear anything about anymore.
yeah,
You know? PCP.
and I thought that was super random. And this was 4.5 years ago that this happened. But she was down at Jasper, Tennessee, at the hospital there, fighting for her life.
Man.
And what the thing was is like, man, you know so many people in the cannabis industry, and you've been in the cannabis industry for so long. You know, can you get us some products that are clean? And so I was like, yeah, I can do that. So that's what I started doing. I started basically going and meeting up with friends and their friends and so on and so forth, and giving them products that were legal, uh, that could still give them the relief that they wanted, whether it was pain relief or whether they needed the euphoria or whether they were transitioning off of a hard substance
Right.
to something that was less harmful for
Right.
them, you know. um, and then that became our mantra, was know your source, because a lot of stuff out there on the streets is
You don't know what you're getting.
no good.
Yes, I agree. These days, it's scarier now than it was when I was young.
Yeah.
When I was young, you didn't have to think twice about buying some marijuana, some Mexican brickweed somewhere. And, you know, I mean, you're smoking mostly seeds and stems, but you didn't worry about that back then. I mean, as much as I smoked weed, I think there might have been one time where I was like, there's something in that.
Right.
Like, you know, there's something in that.
Sure.
But it was where I got it from.
Right.
So, yeah, there was something in
The
it.
source.
Yeah, right.
The source.
Knowing your source is very important.
And another thing for me is that it was like, man, you know, I'm now painting a target on my back,
Oh, yeah.
on my forehead,
Yeah, absolutely.
because street dealers are losing money
Right. By you doing something legally.
over the products that we're selling to their once customers.
Yeah.
And that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, but you know,
yeah.
somebody's got to wear the jacket.
Yeah.
So
Somebody's got to do it. Might as well
you
be
know,
you.
yeah, somebody's got to wear the jacket. I'm all
Absolutely.
for it.
Yeah. It's just kind of these days. It's like, you know, being in the South. we're so behind as far as anything else goes. There's still this stigma of marijuana in the South. And what I don't understand, and one thing that I always will tell somebody, especially I have a lot of old customers and I love my old customers. I've always been a sucker for the elderly. I always have. When I was younger, I used to always say, like, one day I want to work with the elderly somehow.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't pay any money, so I sell guns instead.
Yeah.
But I've always had a soft spot, taking my customers to the doctor, stuff like that. I can't tell an old person no. Like, I can't.
Right.
But when you bring up, like their ailments, which is a very common conversation you have with the elderly when you're sitting around, is what's wrong with them or this or that. And you mention, "Well, have you tried weed? Have you tried doing this? Have you tried that?" Oh no, I ain't gonna get high. This, the general idea from that age group is, it's gateway drug, it's this, it's that, reefer madness is what's still in their head. But we're starting to see that trend change very, very quickly, really. I mean, the last 10 years, it's daylight and dark. But what I always tell them is, do you listen to your doctor? And they're like, well, yeah, I listen to my doctor. Do you listen to him about your blood pressure? Do you listen to him about your cholesterol? Do you listen to him about all that? Yeah. Well, do you realize that 87% of the doctors in this country support marijuana? And like, why wouldn't you listen to them about that? Why can't we just admit the government got this wrong? And it never should have happened in the first place. Probably padding the pockets of the pharmaceutical companies, which, that,
Cotton.
yes. And yes,
Cotton.
Absolutely.
Patting the pockets of cotton.
It all goes back to
the DuPont industry.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, the history of actual cannabis in America falls back on black and brown hands that were actually harvesting this
Right.
on their own farms as freed men after slavery. Okay.
Mhm.
A lot of Latinos, a lot of blacks, a lot of Native Americans were farming and harvesting cannabis for a very long time here in North America.
But mainly for the hemp.
Mainly for the hemp, but they found out that they could actually use it as a medicinal purpose too. And so the DuPont family actually conspired with our government because they wanted cotton and polyester to become the new big thing.
Was this before or after they killed half the Olympic team?
Oh, that would be after, because this was in 1934 or 1936 that they started outlawing hemp and cannabis.
Wow.
And to even grow it back then, even prior to those days, and I've got some old photos of some stamps. You would get a stamp from the IRS, and they would give you a stamp that would show that you had paid a tax for processing hemp.
So they had a tax stamp for hemp.
They had a tax stamp for hemp before they outlawed it.
Wow.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep. And then our government decided, okay, well, we're just going to usher cotton in.
Yeah.
We're going to let that be the new big thing, and we're going to shut this down because there's too many brown dollars and too many black dollars here in America. And what it was white America didn't want to see rich black men and rich brown men here in the United States at that time. We were still under segregation, mind you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not talking like this was a couple of years ago. Like
Sure. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the whole thing is that they didn't want to see the brown man, the black man being equal to the white man or toppling over, because they were making a crap ton of money off of this. Okay.
They were making a crap ton, but it was never even really started to the point that it could have gotten without that.
No, it was peanuts compared to pears.
I feel like that's what's going on in Alabama right now. The reason everybody's dragging their feet and nothing's been done since 2021 is because they just haven't figured out how to make the money yet.
Yeah, regulation's always a big thing. I mean, the state impact, they always want to figure out, okay, what are we going to get off of this? How are we going to tax it? you know.
I don't see
And
why they can't just step in and model it after another state that's already been doing it,
well,
already successful. I know our laws are different in every state, but you would think there'd be a general map laid out with 40. How many states now? 42, 41,
I think we're at 38 is where we're
38.
at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it was
which
38,
is
and then
which
Ohio
is
and something
which is
else.
crazy because the federal law is when I believe, what is it, 2/3 or 3/4 of the states ratify a law uh collectively together, then the federal government must pass the law
Yep.
to go with that,
Maybe
and
nothing.
we're already there and
Yeah.
nothing's been done.
Right.
Well over.
Yeah,
Except for
yeah,
maybe what
yeah. So I mean,
reclassification. I mean,
yeah.
that's as far
I
as
mean,
they've
I'm
got.
not a lawyer, but I mean, I do study legislation from
Right.
time to time, specifically in this industry. But I
You've
believe that
been good.
we're past the ratification
Right.
ratification quotient that's been needed.
I know you've been good as far as local government too. I know you've
Oh
been
yeah,
involved as far as all that goes. Making it to where we could have a
I'm
dispensary.
super happy with our city government and our county government.
They're killing it right now. They
Yep.
really are. They're
Yeah,
doing a
they
good
really
job.
are. I'm a super fan, from the mayor all the way down to our
Yeah.
city council and our county council. Here's the reason why. Just like you said, we're in the South,
Mhm.
and I as a boy that grew up in Missouri,
Yeah.
I respect that.
Right.
Okay, because
Right.
I'm a split state,
Right.
but nonetheless, kind of more Southern than I'm a Northern boy.
Yeah.
All right, but coming down here, moving down here, and seeing how progressive Scottsboro, Alabama, of all places,
It's
is.
very recent though.
No,
Yeah,
I
that's a
know
very
that,
recent change.
but it's like God said, okay, you're going to move down here at this point in time, right now.
Perfect timing.
Yep. And my wife and I both believe in that, and we're like, okay, well, we need to go talk to our city government and our legislation and educate them and let them know what we are aiming to do for this area and what we disagree with.
Right.
And what we disagree with is these gas stations selling products that are IP infringing, that looks like Skittles and
Oh
gummy
yeah.
bears. And
Yep.
you saw me on TV.
Oh yeah.
Like, I literally went and bought these products
Yeah.
from our local gas stations and gave them to our city council. And I said, look, these products are being sold right here in Scottsboro in front of your face,
Right.
and something needs to be done about it.
And not because you want the market share,
No,
but because
our
this stuff
youth,
is
our kids,
yes.
our
Yeah.
kids, our children.
It's the same as when they were selling spice illegally. It's coming from the same top places.
It's the same when
Yes.
it's the same when the vapor industry was marketing to the children too.
Yes.
And I told them that. I said, you are going to have a really bad issue on your hands if you don't do something about it. And vapor was a problem in our high schools and junior highs. These gummies and all this different type of stuff that
yeah.
attracts children,
I
the
couldn't
vapes
imagine.
and all that type of
If I was a
stuff.
teenager these days, oh
I
my
wonder
God.
I wonder how many SROs have found stuff here
Oh, God.
and not
Not
reported it.
reported it.
Yeah.
Tons, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Tons.
You think we could get one on here one day?
I know them well. I don't know if they'd want that heat.
I don't know they want that heat either.
Let's wait till they retire. Then
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, literally
No.
it exists, and we can't turn a blind eye to it.
No.
And that's the reason why I stood up in front of city government and I said, hey,
Yeah.
these
something about
products
this.
that I'm showing you are being sold in our gas stations right here in town, and we are not about that.
Right.
That is not the type of business that we do.
That's what gives
and
it the
that
bad
gives it the
name.
bad name.
It
That's
does.
what turns it backwards.
Right.
That's what sends it backwards.
Sends it right back to Nancy Reagan.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's in the gas stations isn't regulated, controlled by
No.
anybody.
No.
It's just,
And you don't even know where that half that stuff's coming from.
right.
Because there's QR codes that you can peel up off of it, and you turn around and look at it, and it says it came from California.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
That's what kills me is they were selling the cake brand at our local gas station. And at the time when cake first started, they've been around for a while now, but they didn't make Delta whatever shit. It was legit stuff. And
Sure.
it was sitting right at our gas station in plain sight.
Yeah, it was an actual illegal product.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
And you see a lot of that. It just makes you wonder, like, how do they get it? Is it that easy to get it across, state lines or anything else? Which, I mean, I'm sure it's like anything else, but when you're owning a gas station, like, I don't know how some of these people even come up with this stuff.
Yeah, what my biggest thing is in this industry is that there needs to be sensible regulation. I'm all for that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there needs to be people that are actually held accountable
Right.
for being bad actors.
Right. They need
And
to
it's just
have
when
an example made.
when I ran vape shops, it was the same thing. I believe that yes, you need to protect children because they don't need access to these products.
Right.
These nicotine products are literally for adults that want to quit smoking. I was a 20-year smoker. This is the reason why I use this.
Same here.
It's
Same
not
here.
it's not because I'm trying to hook your kids
Right.
to use this product. It's for me.
Right. I've been doing
I don't
this
care about your kids.
since the blue cigarette days.
Correct. Correct.
People thought I was nuts. I'd be walking down the street in Nashville hitting my vape, and they'd be like, "Excuse me, did you just smoke marijuana?"
No,
It's like, no, man.
it's
No,
nicotine.
What is that thing? Now you see everybody with a vape. Yeah, I remember the old VV Nova tanks and
yeah.
I mean junk, total junk stuff back then.
Yes.
And I smoked cinnamon, and it would eat the tank, like literally eat the plastic.
And you want to know something? The vapor industry is angry about the disposable market, but yet these are the best things that have happened to the vapor industry
really has.
so far.
I was so
hands
anti
down.
the disposables. I never would for a long time.
As an owner and as a person that had vested interest in the nicotine industry like that, I was kind of anti for it too.
Because you wanted to make the juice, and
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
I was all
Making money on the
open
juice,
tank,
I'm
but
sure.
then I was like, man, these things really work really well. Yeah. And so boom, next thing you know.
But I spend a shit ton more money buying disposables than I did when I was filling my own
A
tank.
lot of people do.
I do,
A
because
lot
I
of
mean,
people do.
it never leaves my hand.
Yeah.
I mean, it never leaves.
So that means the old argument that you'll spend less on this than you will cigarettes is moot.
Oh, 100%. Well, I don't know. Cigarettes are pretty damn high these days.
Oh, dude,
I was a Marlboro drink. I was a Marlboro smoker, 2 packs a day.
Marlboro drinker.
Marlboro
You
drinker.
drink your Marlboros?
I loved them so much I put them in drinks.
I was standing in a gas station today, and I just happened to look up. They got the cigarette prices hanging out from the ceiling chain or whatever. A pack of Cools, $8.29. I was like, who smokes Cools?
Who can afford to smoke?
I remember when you could get those things at the PX for $1.87 a pack.
Oh wow, $1.87. I remember when Marlboro would always do those buy two get ones in Basic and Camels. I would smoke Basic, Camel, or Marlboro, whichever one was the buy one get two or buy two get one or whatever deal.
Yep,
I wasn't too picky.
The cheapest I ever seen them was like $1.86, $1.87 per pack, and that was back in 1997.
Wow. I remember in 99, that's when I was 16, $5 was gas and cigarette money.
Yeah.
You could buy a pack of cigarettes, a few
and
gallons
go cruise
of gas.
cruise the whole strip that weekend.
Absolutely. For $5. Now, what's $5 get you? Whew, nothing.
Not even a hand job.
A body armor. A stinking body armor.
Yeah.
I cringe every time I go to the store to get one of my little Starbucks double shots. I'm like, how much was that? I'm spending $4 and something for an energy drink. That's ridiculous.
I'm
sorry, Mama. My mama's gonna watch this and she's gonna be like, "What's a hand job?"
my mom.
We have to edit that one out.
We'll put the Pornhub link.
We have to put that on the bloopers.
The other day, she said, I saw y'all's disclaimer in the first episode of where all of us should be watching this.
Did you turn it off there?
No, she was like, I'm going to keep watching it. And I was like, okay.
Oh, I'm sure everything that I say is making my parents so proud.
My dad, my grandfather, and my great grandfather were all ordained ministers.
Parents were youth pastors.
Yep. And my dad has come to terms with cannabis and actually understands that these products actually help people.
And I could say the same about my parents. You know, my parents were devout, Pentecostal Church of God, youth pastors that beat religion down my throat my whole life.
Yep.
And now, I mean, they know that I smoke weed. They've known for many years that I smoke weed, but they also understand why I smoke weed. I'm
It's
not
for a purpose.
right. I'm not one of those people.
You're not just sitting there and just
You're not chasing a
I'm
euphoric
bored.
high.
I just
hey, I
want
want
to
to get high.
Everybody has this mentality because people that don't use marijuana, they'll have a story where, yeah, I smoked it one time and I was so messed up and this and that, and they think in their head that's what marijuana is. That's what they go back to over and over, and they're like, well, I did it one time, and my Lord, and it's like, well, then you didn't properly dose. You didn't know what you were doing. You didn't know what you had. You didn't know anything about it, and you overdid it.
That's why
Yep.
we as a business try to consult with every single person that comes into our store. Um, we not only work on a one-on-one basis, and here's the thing that like really gets it for us. We want to be able to try and help every single person that comes through the door.
Right.
When you're on when you go see a doctor for something and get a prescription, you Will's going to get the same prescription that I'm going to get,
Right.
and you're going to get the same prescription that I'm going to get. We're all going to get this 10 milligram
Whatever.
blood pressure pill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But he may need 7.5 milligrams, and I may need 3.2 milligrams, and you may need only 5 milligrams out of that 10 milligrams.
Right.
They've all overdosed us.
Yes.
You
Yep.
see what I'm saying?
Speaking of which, see the actual list that it's going to be able to be prescribed for would be autism, of course.
Yep.
Cancer.
Yep.
Which for the nausea and vomiting.
And we'll talk about cancer here in a minute.
Okay. Crohn's disease, depression, epilepsy, HIV/AIDS, panic
Yep.
disorder, Parkinson's disease, persistent nausea, post-traumatic stress disorder, sickle cell anemia, any terminal illness, Tourette's syndrome, or condition causing chronic or intractable pain.
Yep.
Has to be 19 or older, a state resident, certified by a registered physician. That's about it.
Yep. 19 or older. That's a shame because
It is.
let me tell you something. And I'm just going to throw this out there and we can keep this rolling. We ain't even got to edit this. All right. I'm going to be honest.
We can do it.
All right.
Because I'm sure I'm right.
I
there
have
with you.
many children here in Jackson County who have autism, and their
Mhm.
parents come to us on a regular basis. We don't say no names. We don't talk about it. We just trying to help and heal some of these kids out here that have some of these problems.
So
All right.
I have a stepchild on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Um, my fiance has got 2 doctorates.
Yep.
She's super smart.
Yep.
She's probably one of the smartest people.
She
I
knows
know.
medical in and out.
She does, and she's very, very pro cannabis and for all the treatment because, I mean, like I said, most medical professionals are. If you listen to your doctor about your blood pressure, maybe you should listen to them about marijuana. I'll just keep throwing that out there. That's one thing that's like a pet peeve to me.
Yes.
It drives me crazy. It's like, oh, so you're going to listen to your doctor about everything except for what Nancy Reagan was against. We got to protect Nancy.
Damn it.
Good old
Damn it, Nancy.
Just say no. But so we have, of course, researched many things for him and what course of help we're going to go about. We're still anti-medication as of right now, but I would not think twice. I would not think twice about giving him a gummy or anything else that would calm his nerves
Mhm.
because he has a lot of emotional swings.
Sure.
Which that's absolutely
Normal
101 right there.
for them.
What cannabis could do, I
Yep.
mean, that I know a guy with Parkinson's disease, and I know he smokes every day from the time he wakes up to the time he goes to bed, and he's like, my tremors are 1/10 what they are if I'm smoking, and it's just the quality of life that it could give so many people versus pharmaceuticals, and they don't understand it. But the autism thing, it's hard to say because I know how you'll be viewed, but I would much rather give that kid a THC gummy than fill him full of Adderall or anything else.
Because that's what they're going to give them.
That's exactly what they're going to give them in the state that we live in now.
Yes.
You know, that's exactly what we'll do.
That's textbook.
Exactly. Oh yeah, 100%. Like, we know what medications that they would offer, and we want no part of that. You know, no part of that. And hopefully, you know, the marijuana commission will get off their ass and get some dispensaries open where people can actually get their medicine. But I would definitely use that as an option.
Yeah.
And I know his mother would too. I mean, both of us are 100% pro. We know what it could do.
We've got plenty of parents here in Scottsboro and Jackson County alike, and we even have parents that are
I've
coming.
seen a lot of documentaries with people with kids.
We've got parents from DeKalb and Marshall County coming here.
Wasn't the Farm Bill actually? The Farm Bill was actually started over a child, wasn't it? They couldn't get their medicine or something.
It was
something along those lines.
Half and half. Yes. Yeah. Half and half.
I was thinking there was some story that kind of peaked it.
Yeah. It was a half and half debate on that.
Didn't we have something before the Farm Bill in Alabama that was like a girl's name, and they called it like the whatever law or something? I can't think of what that was now.
I would have to ask.
I'll have to look that up.
I'd have to ask Marty Shelper on that. That is another person that you need to have on your show.
Marty
Shelper. She has been the and I mean the cannabis advocate for this whole state of Alabama.
Really?
Yes, for many years, many years. She stays in Montgomery and fights politicians.
Really?
Yeah, she was the one that went to Melton to get help to get him to pass a bill and run a bill for Alabama to actually get medical prescriptions done here in this state.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's been a big fighting force for this state.
How do you feel about the products that they're going to actually have available? It sounds like they're
limited. That's why I told you I can do more in the hemp side than the medical side can do.
So we got tablets, capsules, gels, oils, creams for topical use, suppositories. That sounds fun.
I already do suppositories for customers.
Do you actually do it for them?
We do. Well, I mean, we don't. We don't. Busted.
I was like, I'll have a real good time. Nobody offered me a suppository last time I came.
I knew I was caught as soon as you freaking said that too. I got him on one ear and I got you in the other ear. So now you both are on me. No, but
transdermal patches, nebulizers, liquids or oils for use in an inhaler. Now, did they add that? Because I think when they originally
no, it's the same. It's the same thing. It hasn't been changed.
I was thinking when they first came up with all this crap, there was no vaping. It was going to be like strictly edibles.
No, there is no vaping. That nebulizer is an aerosol. That's an inhaler.
But what about the liquids or oils for use in an inhaler? That's
an inhaler. Oh. Not a vape.
So
no smoking, no vaping, none of that.
Man, that sucks. But how can they regulate that? I mean, there's no way to regulate that. Really.
Yes, there is.
Pulled over and you got flour, of course, but
Oh yeah, there's a way they'll regulate it.
Yeah, I mean they'll figure it out, I'm sure. But yeah,
this was honestly, and I mean, I'm pro law enforcement.
Yeah.
But this was also consulted with Aaliyah before they passed this. Okay,
that makes sense.
All right.
Yeah. It says the Board of Medical Examiners may not issue medical cannabis certification permits to physicians until the AMCC has issued at least one license each for a cultivator, a processor, a secure transporter, and a dispensary, or at least one license for an integrated facility.
You want to know what my legal representation told me? After we applied for so there was an application for a pre-application. All right.
You had to apply to get an application.
Correct.
That sounds
all right.
Efficient.
Yeah.
So my legal team here in Alabama, my legal team in Oregon, Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas all said we go no further from here.
Really?
Wait it out a year to see what they're gonna do, and then maybe we'll apply after that.
Really?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
you applied, didn't you? I thought you.
I applied on the pre-application.
Oh, okay.
Once we saw once the curtain got opened on the pre-application,
Really?
our lawyers were like, this is a joke. Do not go any
It's
further.
too much of a shit show.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200, and let's just sit and keep doing what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So let's go back to cancer. All right.
Yeah.
So with all of that,
Mhm.
you know, we can still do way more in the hemp side,
Mhm.
okay,
Right.
than this bill that was passed and now regulated can do, okay? Because THC is THC. Delta 9 THC is Delta 9 THC, whether you get it from marijuana or whether you get it from hemp.
Yeah.
CBD is CBD,
Right.
whether you get it from marijuana or whether you get it from hemp. All cannabinoids are found in this plant. It is one plant. It is Cannabis L sativa. That is its scientific name. Okay. So to actually consider it as hemp means that the high THC and the active cannabinoids that would be psychoactive
Mhm.
are bred out and bred closer to fiber
Hmm.
means that it's hemp. Okay.
Gotcha.
To be bred out to where it's highly psychoactive, now we're talking about marijuana. All right. Under the Farm Bill, under the 2018 Farm Bill, there are limitations on only how much Delta 9 THC can be harvested out of a plant, which is 3%, 0.30
Right.
or less. Okay. But again, we really only care about THCA if you're smoking it
Right.
or if you're vaping it.
Right.
All right. If you're dosing it as an edible, it just has to be 3% by weight. By weight.
Hmm.
That allows our slushies to be very powerful
I was about to say,
because
that's
it's a
some weight.
yeah, it's a 16-ounce cup
Right.
of liquid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Them slushies are legit.
Yeah, they are.
They are. They're good. I got an old man that works for me that absolutely loves them.
Do you know we got so many people copying us right now?
Do you?
Oh yeah,
It don't
it's
surprise
great.
me. Yeah, it don't surprise
Yeah.
me. That's the popsicles coming. Have you started doing those?
No, we've already started them.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome. He
yeah,
bought a popsicle making machine. It's cool.
yeah, yeah.
He's got freeze pops now.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then we've got other companies trying to like copy us and hit up our own vendors. Like, how do they even get that list? Like,
That's flattery though. It
it-
means you're doing something right.
it's fine. I'm
Yeah.
not even worried about it.
Nah.
My intent is just to make sure that every person has access to this type of stuff
Absolutely.
and it doesn't get shut down.
Right. Right.
That's it.
And knows their source.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
The money's
knows the source.
going to come.
Right.
The money's going to come.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not worried about the
No,
money.
no, you shouldn't be. I mean, you
Yeah.
came in at the perfect time.
Yeah, the money.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, the money's going to come. I want to make sure that people are having access to all different types of things. I don't want them to just have access to that list that you just read off.
Right. Right.
They don't.
shouldn't. I
They
mean,
don't like inhalers.
Right. I don't. Want
They
an
don't like
inhaler.
peach rings.
No, I don't want a
No.
peach. What if you don't like peaches?
Yeah,
Everything's supposed to taste like peach.
correct.
Who decided everything had to taste like a
You
damn
don't like
peach?
suppositories either. I heard. Will told me.
Well, it depends on who's putting them in. I'm going to Mountaintop Dispensary for my
Oh
next one.
boy.
Over, I'm getting one.
Anyways, I want to.
smoked a vape. I haven't ever shoved it up my ass though.
I don't think you shoved a vape up your ass. I mean, that's probably why you ain't been enjoying it so much.
If you ever see me burp and blow a damn vape, you
And
know I tried.
a bubble behind it. Bloop. I want to go back to cancer though.
Yeah.
So and this is a serious topic for me. I lost my grandfather to cancer back in the day, and that's also another big thing of why I do what I do. Here in Jackson County, we literally treat and it's illegal for me to say this, but we literally help and try to treat those who have terminally ill conditions for free. So
That's awesome.
if they have Jackson County residency here in Jackson County, they got a Scottsboro license, Stevenson license.
Right.
List
You're gonna
goes
help 'em out.
Bridgeport, list goes on and on. We don't charge them.
That's
We
awesome.
we don't ask them to pay for nothing.
That's awesome.
That's
That's
so
awesome.
so Meemaw's got cancer.
I mean,
We
it's
don't
stuff like that proves
we
that
don't we don't charge them.
you're about it
you're not
to
in it
get
for the
people
money.
their medicine.
Absolutely,
Yeah, right.
absolutely. We don't, and it's a community thing for me. And it goes back, and again, it goes back to the county council. It goes back to the city council. They understand why we're here.
Yep.
Why we're here
Right.
in Scottsboro is because there's a high rate of people that have uncurable diseases and conditions.
Right.
Okay,
So, yeah.
this county,
Why
because
would we not wanna
because
make their lives easier?
we're a
Right.
farming county.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I grew up in a rural farming county. Believe me, I can tell you about cancer and
yeah.
Parkinson's and stuff that grandpa and grandma were using out in the fields that probably weren't supposed to be used out
Oh
in the
yeah.
fields, and now we're paying for those mistakes.
My grandma, she would always buy diesel fuel and mix a little salt in it for her Roundup. So she'd go around spraying diesel fuel on everything, That's the kind of stuff they did back then,
Yeah.
You see all these lawsuits about Roundup and everything else, all these chemicals that
And
they
we're
didn't know.
and we're paying for it today.
Absolutely.
In my grandfather's generation, it was DDT.
Oh yeah, DDT,
Yeah.
asbestos, any of that
Yeah, they
stuff.
was using that. They was using that down here too. I know
Man.
for sure. Yeah. So we try to take care of our elderly
That's
folks
awesome.
that have cancer,
Yeah.
any type of debilitative disease that is terminally ill, specifically for free. If they're out of county, we charge them at cost. We don't charge them any profit or
That's awesome.
markup or anything like that. And now we're moving into Marshall County.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so now Marshall County gets to benefit from this.
Right,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And hopefully soon we'll be able to move into DeKalb County and Madison County. And that's the hope that we're able to, get 8 or 10 locations throughout the Northeast Alabama and just hold it right there and see the data.
Yeah, right.
I want to see the data.
That'd be interesting.
Not just on that, but I also want to see the data on how many less arrests we have on opiate charges,
Right,
less arrests we have on methamphetamine charges.
right.
Even if we are successful as a county in Jackson County and that number goes down by 1%,
Made a difference.
I hope that we have made a difference in this county to reduce the recidivism of narcotics here in our homeland.
One thing that always killed me is like people that would go to rehab for meth or fentanyl or whatever else. Those people struggle with their detox and everything else, especially when you take their marijuana away.
Of course.
And court referral, everything, having marijuana on that list does more harm than it does good, because marijuana could be beneficial to those people to replace some of that crap or to make it easier to detox or whatever else. You can look at it 100 different ways, but it just being put even in the same ballpark as some of these other drugs it's a slap in the face. I mean,
The
it really
argument is you're trading one addiction for another
Exactly.
addiction.
Yep.
That's the argument.
Well, why the
But
hell they
there's
give methadone? Why they
There,
give Suboxone?
exactly. There's no data to support the saying. There's no data to support it. You're trading one addiction for another. Show me the data.
I mean, the only data
I'm a
that should
voter.
matter,
I'm a voter.
right?
I'm a voter.
The only data that should matter is how many people overdose on marijuana, how many people overdose on opiates. I mean,
It's a no-brainer.
it's a no-brainer.
It's an
no-brainer.
open and shut case.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
Even you take that look at it from a purely just, we love America, we want America to be the best. Where does all the opiates come from? Afghanistan.
Not here.
Not here. Not here.
Think about who you're supporting with those
Yeah.
opiates.
Yeah.
Right. You know, I mean, and that's what I mean. That's a
You've
kind of
seen the poppy fields.
yeah, it's kind of a left field, way to look at it, but it's, I mean, that's how it is.
Yeah, it's
You know?
Afghanistan and China. That's
Yeah.
who's growing the poppies. That's
Yep.
who's fucking sending it out here. They're sending it to South America. It's coming through the border from
Yep.
South America. It's a new war on drugs.
It's
Just a new drug.
It's a totally different.
Yeah,
different
ain't no
war.
cocaine coming through those borders.
No.
It's all fucking fentanyl.
Yeah, you don't even hear anybody talking about cocaine anymore. When's the last
No.
time you seen a coke bust? Shit, I can't remember. Which, I mean, we used to have a lot of meth busts before you came. I remember when I was young, every day you got a daily Sentinel newspaper.
Of a meth bust.
And it was, it'd be like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It'd be like, they're 193rd meth lab bust of the year and blah, blah, blah. The sheriff on there. I mean, they did an awesome job, but it was nonstop, which of course Mexico took care of that. Now they started pumping it all in, and they changed the regulations on getting, pseudoephedrine and stuff like that. But
Yeah, no, the cartel's been working with China and
hell
freaking
yeah.
working with Islamic groups for a long time.
long time.
Yep. Boats straight to the ports.
Yeah, but we'd rather support them
Yeah.
than make marijuana.
Yeah.
legal. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah, no customs. No customs. Just straight boats.
straight boats.
Yeah.
I wish I could go down there and get a boat back.
Dude,
Hey, early retirement.
I've been, I mean, it's kind of off topic, but like I've been to Europe, been to Asia, been, done all those places. I want to go to Central America so bad I can't stand it.
Really?
And
Yeah.
like I don't want to go to like any part of Central America that is okay to go to.
Yeah.
I want to go to like
A rougher spot.
Central America. You know what I mean? Like I want to get
Oaxaca. Yeah, I want to get my Oaxaca on.
Oaxaca.
Yeah.
It would be. I mean, I furthest. Well, I went to Costa Rica, so I've been to Costa Rica. That's
That was pretty recent though, wasn't it?
No, it's probably been 10 years now.
Has it?
Yeah, probably close to it. It's been a minute. It's a different world there. Different world.
Cheap
there.
property.
So it was cool because we were staying at a Westin Guanacaste. This big like curved beach, and it came out to a point on both sides, and the Westin's like right here in the middle. Beautiful. There's a big mansion on this hill and a big mansion on this hill. This one's Michael Jordan's. This one's Mel Gibson's.
Oh wow.
The difference was Mel Gibson bought land from the locals and had it was like 100 and something acres. Well, he paid like next to nothing for it. Michael Jordan, on the other hand, had a couple acres up here on a beautiful hill.
I didn't know he had property there.
This has been about 10 years ago. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the gate when you go around on the jet ski had a big 2-3 on the
wow.
gate. Oh, it was really cool. But he paid.
Rick Ross is gonna have to step his game up.
Oh yeah, Rick Ross definitely. I think he just bought another big house in Miami. Seen it the other day.
I don't know why.
God, he owns Miami already, don't he?
Did you seen his house in Atlanta?
Oh, dude, it's unbelievable.
That's Holyfield's old house.
Yeah, it's the big
Yeah.
spread out. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
drove past that. I was like, I know whose house this
Oh,
is.
yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, it's a different world down there for sure.
I don't know why I'd go back to Miami.
Oh.
They don't like him down there. You know that?
No, why don't they like him? I thought he was a king down there.
Because the real Rick Ross.
Oh, really? The one he stole his name from?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. I think I've seen a little bit about that.
Mhm.
Old Rick Ross.
Yeah. Yeah, the rap industry is like a bunch of fakers.
So I do have a question for you, going way back from the beginning of this talk. You said you have a master's in chemistry.
Mhm.
What made you want to? I'm big. I love science, and so that grabbed my attention.
So for me, it was I was working for the UT Board of Regents for quite some time, and I'd already held a bachelor's in IT sciences, and so I was like, man, I'm really tired of just kind of sitting in a cubicle and sitting in an office. It's like I really want to get out and do something. Like,
Right.
And so biology started striking me as the next thing.
Step
As
or
the
whatever,
next thing for me. And so it was like, well, what do I want to do? I grew up in farmland, and I was like, oh yeah, organics is definitely up my alley. So
Right.
yeah, that was my thing. Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty cool, really.
I'll
But
have my PhD here in a year and a half.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
awesome. So we can start calling
Call
you
you-
Yeah,
Doctor Weed,
yeah, to be Doctor John.
Doctor Weed.
Yeah, Trapper John, MD.
That'd be awesome.
be legit though. I mean,
54% of Americans live in a state where recreational use of marijuana is legal now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
crazy.
federally, it's supposed to be ratified to where all states now are legal under a federal law.
74% of Americans live in a state where cannabis is legal for either recreational or medical.
Yep.
79% of Americans approve of use of marijuana on some type of level, recreational or medicinal.
Yep.
California has the most dispensaries, 3,659. That's a lot of dispensaries.
It is, but
It's a big state,
But I'll tell you something, that their industry is actually like going down the tubes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's been a big problem. There's been a big problem with California over basically the last almost 5 years now, 4 or 5 years.
I agree.
And
They just cut it off and let it float away.
yeah, it's not just political, but it is political. Anyways, a good majority of the farmers are not receiving what they would normally receive in payment
Hmm.
for these products, and so it's basically driven and drove the price down completely. And it's not like capitalism driving down. It's
Right.
like the black market has drove the price down in the state of California.
Oh, really?
Correct.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a documentary out there. I'm trying to think of what documentary it was, and it was one I watched not too long ago, and they were talking about all the black market grows that are going on in the hills, just all over the hills of California. And they can't, California Patrol can't keep up with all of them. And so, the black market still prevails over,
That's crazy, though.
over the legal market.
I mean, you would think
So,
the black market would have died with that. I mean, you would think that'd be game over for them,
not yet, because I think honestly,
You think it's a price point problem, or
it's not a price point problem to me. I've studied economics before. What I personally believe is that there hasn't been enough licenses or availability for people to get in. So say
easier?
correct.
It's easier for me to go
Correct.
holler
Right.
at this dude right
Correct.
down the road and not have to
So say
provide anything.
so say Barry wanted to get in for only $20,000 capital. No, not happening, Barry.
Yeah.
We need at least $1.2 million capital.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So might as well just stay illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Makes sense.
They're not coming to get you. They
Right.
can't find you.
Right.
Yeah, you're growing out in the hills, out in the wild, and harvesting it, and then bagging it up and shipping it to God knows who, and So yeah, there's always going to be, as long as they don't completely legalize it just all the way around,
Still gonna be
there's still going to be a
need for-
black market. And who benefits off the black market? Our politicians.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the only people that benefit off of it.
How you feel about? Do you think that marijuana should be completely legal, recreational, or just medicinal?
So
I've kind of got mixed feelings on that
yeah,
myself.
I've never been. I've never been a recreational fan, and the reason why is because, again, I grew up in Missouri, okay, and I remember when Colorado went legal for its first time, and then I remember when Colorado went recreationally legal,
Yeah.
okay, and I started seeing the socioeconomic impact that it started having on Denver. And with that being said, is you started having every transient that you didn't want in your city,
Yeah.
poof,
All there.
all right there,
Yep.
flock to Denver.
Yep.
And then you started seeing these signs stuck out in front of dispensaries, like, I just want some weed.
Yeah.
Like, I'll wash your car for weed. We'll work for weed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro,
Yep. I could see that.
like,
It's abusing the good, abusing a good system.
Well, that was also the result of it. I mean, it was new in our country. You know, it was still pretty fresh. So, I mean, people wouldn't react to a state going legal. I feel like they did with Colorado and California and stuff like that. It's kind of a different world these days.
it is a different world these days. Matter of fact, I'll give you an example. I just talked to a person that we were interviewing for a job just before we came here.
Mhm.
And they had lived in Denver, and the reason why they came back to Alabama was because their rent got raised from $850 a month all the way up to $1650 a month within 3 years.
Ooh, jeez.
And so again, like I said, the recreational portion has a huge socio-economical problem with this because it starts and creates a, I guess the best word for it is that creates a gentrification of the area in which the portion of the largest players are at.
Yeah.
And so therefore only the people that can afford to rent those places are going to be the only people that are going to live there.
Right. And be the only ones there.
Correct.
Yeah.
And half of them may not even be partakers in that product.
Right.
So if that's the case, and let's just say that 50 or 60% of those people don't partake in that product, now what happens? Now we have another housing crisis.
Yeah.
On top of our hands.
Yeah. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Time to short real estate, folks.
Exactly.
No
Puts.
kidding.
Wow. I don't know. I feel like enough times went by now and enough states have done it that it wouldn't be as crazy if like Alabama just went full on legal versus, you know, if it would have done it 10 years ago. But you know, you can look at it two ways. You can look at it as no, it shouldn't be used for recreational, but then ask that recreational user why they use marijuana. And they say, well, it helps me relax in the evening, or I've been really stressed, or I've got anxiety, or man, my life sucks,
Sure.
you know, whatever else. Well, then that recreational user is not using it for recreation. They're using it for an ailment.
Yeah,
right?
it's it becomes a medical issue.
And a lot of times when you talk to a marijuana user, they're not like, oh yeah, I just do it to get stoned, or oh yeah, no, there's usually a reason why somebody smokes marijuana. It's 9 times out of 10 not going to be because, oh, I want to get stoned, because that everyday user doesn't get that huge euphoric, just completely blitzed high. You know, if they're a normal user of it, they're gonna have this high, not this high. So it all goes back to an ailment that's actually covered in the list for the state. You
Yep.
know, so I don't know. I feel like it gives more medicine to the people that need it, but I also don't want my kid to be able to just walk into a gas station and buy it, which they can do right now because nobody does anything about that.
Sure.
So it's kind of like at this point, hell, if they're not gonna go after these gas stations and everything else that's pushing this junk that's labeled for kids, that is unsafe, that you don't know what you're getting because you don't know your source, and it would eliminate that. That goes back to the whole my son accidentally overdosed on fentanyl reasoning. You know, it's like, well, if at least if it was legal, we'd know what we got. So I'm kind of back and forth on that. I mean, I think medical is good enough. But until they do something federally to take the people getting reprimanded for it away, then I mean, what do we got? I mean,
Yeah, if there's no regulation and enforcement, I mean,
right?
you got nothing.
You got nothing.
Yeah, and then you still got a black market
Yep.
behind you.
Well, that's the thing. I was just sitting there thinking about it, and I could be way wrong, but I think even if all 50 states were to go recreational and medicinal legal, there's still going to be a black market of some sort. There's still somebody out there that's going to try to undermine what you do or what any dispensary out there
Sure.
ever does. You know,
It'll
somehow.
never be stopped.
Right.
Yeah, it'll never be stopped. But
I mean, it would be drastically slowed at that point.
it
for
would
sure.
it would be. Yep. It would
know.
be. And the players that decided that they wanted to get off into that type of work would be making peanuts compared to
the
what
legal
yeah,
route.
absolutely.
And again, it would be them just. I think it in a 100% legal country, it would be they're trying to what I've got's better than what you can get at so and so and so and so, and then that all comes back around to knowing your source.
It does.
What do you have that's better? Why is what you get better? You know what I mean? Like I think that would be the next problem that would happen.
Yeah.
With that is,
So for us, as far as like what we do better is we make sure that all of our products are third party tested and proven third party
Right.
tested, to be clean, to be exactly what they say they are. And if you go off into a gas station or a smoke shop, chances are you might really not be getting what you think you're getting. The products that I actually took to the city council in Scottsboro, if you were to go and actually scan the QR codes, they would actually redirect you to like 3 different websites. And so that's almost a telltale sign that these products were.
that's a big red flag.
It's a big red flag,
Yeah.
but it's also a telltale sign that some of these products were probably coming from overseas, and we don't know where it was grown, and we
Don't know the source.
don't know the source, don't know if pesticides were used, don't know if there's high metals that are involved, and
Right.
I mean the list goes on and on and on and on. So we try to make sure as a company that we are providing Jackson County at least with the cleanest product that they can ever get their hands on.
Very clean. Very clean.
And I believe
diamond clean.
and I believe that our city has that faith in us, and it's been tried and true.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they literally do believe that, and I believe they believe that.
Yeah.
Our local law enforcement also believes that,
Right.
from the chief of police all the way to the sheriff.
Yep.
Because we haven't had any customers getting like pulled over and sent to jail because they have something with a Mountaintop Dispensary logo on it here in Jackson County.
Right.
And so that tells me that our community has faith in our works.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Our community has faith in our works.
Speaking of that,
and we appreciate that, because we came to fight for that. We did. We came to fight for that.
You didn't come here to be a problem.
No.
You didn't come here to ruffle feathers.
We came to try to end two problems: the methamphetamine problem and the freaking fentanyl problem in our community.
Absolutely.
And I like I said, if we could see the data, the arrest data, I think we've probably
made a dent.
We've made a dent in it.
Yeah.
I think we've made a dent in it.
Absolutely. Now, as far as the products go that you make, I mean, you were talking about some of your clean products, and you're making stuff like diamonds and all this crazy new stuff that's the old smokers probably don't know what on earth it is. I literally had some diamonds that I got from you, and I had a buddy that used to be on crystal meth, and he was over at the house.
He's like, "Damn, that looks like crack rock,
dude." So I mean, he was
It looks like ice, bro.
he was freshly sober, like fresh.
Some of that stuff can trigger an addict.
So I was like, I bet he's never seen this before. So I probably shouldn't have waved it in his face because he couldn't. But I wanted to see what his reaction was too. So I was like, "Come here, I want to show you something." And I pulled it out, popped the lid off. I said, "Look at that." He was like, I mean, instant, like almost like you could see the sweat bead up on him.
Yep, and hair standing up on his arms.
"Why the hell do you have that?" And I was like, "It's marijuana." And he's like, "What? No, it's not. That's ice. I know ice. That's ice. Why do you have it?" And I was like, "Oh man." And I was like, "Smell it. You can even smell it, And it blew his mind.
That is 99.9% THCA isolate.
It's
Yep.
it's a good product.
Yep.
And now they're doing the snowballs with it.
Yeah,
covering the flour, and I see them doing that.
Oh yeah.
Yep, it's awesome. It's about as, I guess that's as pure as you can get.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isolate is the purest THCA form that you can get. It's 99.9%.
The only thing
has
that bothers me
has
about
no
it,
terpenes.
which don't get me wrong, I'm most of the time if I come see you or whatever, I'm gonna go get my product and then I'm gonna go home and I lock it in a safe, which is where it always stays, is in my safe. Well, if you get pulled over with diamonds,
You're gonna
100%, it looks like meth.
Yep.
You're gonna have to really have a conversation.
That's one of the reasons. So that's one of the reasons that we always give a receipt with our product anytime that somebody comes up
And
out
your
of our
label,
store.
everything.
Label and
Right.
it's time stamped. The receipt's time stamped.
Yep.
And listen, God bless our chief of police. All right.
Yep.
Because I've had meetings with him and he knows where we're at. And I think that he's told his officers at some point in time. I don't know that for a fact, but I believe that he's told his
They've been
officers
educated to an
at some
extent.
point in time that, hey, Mountaintop Dispensary is a legitimate company here in our city. And if you see a receipt with a product, that's basically a no stop and
I
let him
see
go.
a lot of law enforcement in my line of work. They're in here all the time, in and out.
Everybody's wanting to buy guns.
Yeah, everybody. But marijuana it's a hot topic that gets brought up a lot. Especially this day and age. It's all over the news. It's all over everything. I mean, it's all over our gas stations. It's everywhere. So it gets brought up a lot, and it's just been real interesting to see that mentality change. I mean, I've been open 8 years now, and just in that 8 years, it has been a drastic change. And I mean, I've never really hid the fact that, which I didn't smoke marijuana for many years. When my daughter was born, I never used any marijuana because it was illegal. Not because I didn't think it was a better option, not because my opinion of it was different back then, but facts are facts. It's illegal. I've got to be an adult and I've got a kid to raise that depends on me. So it was gone. There was no more of that.
Sure.
And when the farm bill came along and started opening a lot of doors, then it became like, well, I don't want to take this pharmaceutical medicine anymore.
Right.
I hate it. I don't go to the doctor if I have the flu. I don't get vaccinated, not just the COVID, but I don't get flu shots.
Yep. And shortly thereafter, we were able to come here to Alabama from Tennessee and start educating folks.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. But
they listen. They listen to science.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've listened. They've listened to science.
One thing you're going to have a hard time arguing is science.
Yeah.
Science is always.
It depends.
This is great.
You want to argue science in the Bible Belt? That gets a little sketchy.
No. Here we'll go back. We'll go back to Dad and Grandpa, and Great Grandpa was a pastor. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my public to everyone in the Bible Belt. All right. I'm a preacher's son.
Right.
All right. My pulpit's a little bit different.
Right.
All right. So the thing is that if you believe in God, God created you with cannabinoid system. That means you are meant to receive cannabinoids from either natural foods, or if you're deficient Okay.
Right.
If you're deficient, like some of us, then you're meant to uptake it from smoking or how edibles or however you want to use it
On, preach to us.
as
Let's
medication.
go, Pastor Son.
All right.
Preach.
As medication. Okay. But okay. But if you're not a believer, all right, and you're an atheist,
Mhm.
and you're on the other side of the fence, you can't argue with science because this is where science and religion actually agree with one another.
Right.
All right. So science says this is good for you. Religion even shows that if if the creator is perfect, he created you in his own image. That meant that you were supposed to uptake this plant also. Okay?
Right.
For medicine. There's no argument for there.
No.
Yeah.
And that's where I hit my dad on the head, and he's like, and he's been a pastor for over 45 years. Okay?
You can't argue that.
No, he couldn't.
No.
He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you're right.
You know, Dr. Chad was he kind of touched on the same thing.
Yeah.
He's like, you know,
Yeah.
if we were not made to accept cannabinoids, then why would we have cannabinoid receptors?
Yeah. And there's plenty of actual natural, not even cannabis products. There's plenty of other things that have THC in them that we uptake on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Fruits and vegetables.
Right.
People don't even know that.
Low amounts, but it's there.
It is.
there,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
small
there.
amounts and it's feeding your receptors. But again, we're talking about people that need this as medicine,
Right.
okay, that are deficient.
Yep.
That's where the real science comes in.
It's
That's interesting.
no different than me being testosterone.
Correct.
Well, you know,
you need more testosterone.
Exactly.
You need a shot of testosterone. Okay.
one every
Yeah, you need a shot of testosterone.
Yep. I literally had a guy one day.
Matt
we-
needs a shot of THC.
I need those
Probably needs-
suppositories.
Bloop, bloop.
I literally had a guy though tell me one day, he goes, well, you know, if God wanted us to smoke marijuana, it would have been in the Bible. The whole time he's got this pack of Marlboros hanging out of his pocket right here. And I was like, I guess it's the same as if he wanted you to smoke Marlboros, it would say smoke Marlboros in the Bible, right?
Probably so.
And he was just like, well, that's different. That's legal. I was like, oh God, come on. It's just, sometimes it's just hard. Some people you can't argue with. And that's the ones that I love to argue with, you know. That's where I get my shits and giggles, you know.
Yeah, I don't ever make an argument out of it.
No, I don't.
I-
I don't
it's-
really either. I leave it alone because I kind of know not to overstep.
We get invited, and this is surprising to both of y'all. We get invited to some of the most public places to sit and actually talk and hold a roundtable discussion. Okay, whether it be Rotary clubs or Lions
Right.
clubs, or the list goes on and on and on. And those are the people that I want to talk to, because
yeah.
those are my parents' age folks, and when I introduce myself and then I start saying my dad was a pastor, my grandfather was a pastor, and so was my great grandfather, then their ears perk up and they start listening, and then they're like, oh wow, so what does your dad think about that?
Yeah.
And I tell them straight up, like, my father, of a Christian faith, believes in this.
Yeah.
He understands and understands that this is actual medicine,
I
and
don't
not
understand why
people wanting to get stupid off of it.
And now I've got some preacher buddies too,
Yeah.
and their mentality on it is pretty much the same. It's changed into it's the devil, it's bad, it's a drug, to, well, if it's legal, you have to obey the laws of the land, of course.
Yeah.
But
And that's in the Bible.
that is in there. So that was always the argument. Well, now the laws of the land are different. They're not the same laws of the
Sure.
land, just like laws change from time to time, all the time. It progresses. But I don't understand why they still have that same mentality, though. but you're starting to see some of the preachers that they're like they're
swinging,
pro.
yeah.
Yeah, they really are, and that's great because especially in the Bible Belt, we knew that was going to take longer to happen down here than it would up north. But
I'm just glad I'm here.
yeah, me too. I'm
I
glad
really
you're
am.
here. I am too.
Because I like I said, my pulpit is a little bit different than my predecessors.
But you're helping people all the same way.
and that's my main goal. I
Right.
mean, I hope that's that's anybody's goal.
Absolutely.
should
Right.
It shouldn't be about how much money you make.
Right.
It should be about how many lives that you can impact
And when you
Positively.
do that,
and the quality of life that
the money will come by having that. It's going to come either way just by doing the right thing.
just as long as I got a house
Right. You don't want
pillow.
Yeah. And that new fancy bed you just bought, I seen that.
I ain't worried about that.
No, you
That's-
love that
that's
fancy
for-
bed. You were worried about that.
I was worried about that. That's for upset stomachs. Boy, the older
Acid
I get,
reflux.
damn,
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
man.
So we've got the whole bedroom redone right now, and that's the plan. We're gonna buy one of those, moving beds or whatever.
Telling you, it helps
Oh yeah, I got to because
me.
it's bad sometimes.
I after this
I
weekend,
wish marijuana cured acid
Yeah,
reflux.
it don't. It helped. It helped.
Pool table was handy then,
Were you Army?
Yeah.
What years?
Oh, 2012 to 2019.
How old are you?
29.
Oh,
He's a
fuck, I
youngster.
thought you was my age, son.
He's
Nope.
a damn youngster.
I'm a youngster.
Damn,
He ain't even got his beak quit yet.
that's cool as fuck. Huh?
I always forget he's as young as he is.
No, I didn't. I thought you were our age.
Yeah, that means you've
Because you
not
got
aged.
You got grays up here on the top
I've
of your
got
mustache.
I got gray
No, I
hair.
know you do. And I thought you were. I literally thought you were in our fucking age
Yeah.
bracket.
Nope.
No, and he's really immature for his age too. So
Don't talk about your boy like that. That's
I tell people all the time,
that's
it's like-
sacrilegious.
it's like I grow older, but I don't grow up.
Yeah.
Never grow older. That's it. And the females, they stay the same age. I tell Shelby all the time, it's like, oh shit, you turned 30.
So what was your unit?
It's like, man.
First one I was out in Texas. Air Calf.
Yeah. Nice.
Hated that.
Why?
It was just leadership. It was terrible.
Okay.
But,
I'll take that.
But yeah, I did that, and then went to Benning after that.
Oh,
I loved my time at Benning.
everybody does, but none.
I was.
I'm a Marine, so
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
I'm not a Benning boy.
You're not a Benning. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I got lucky with Benning. Attached to the Airborne Ranger Training Brigade.
Yeah.
I was a helicopter crew chief,
Yeah.
and so
That's what I was.
no kidding.
Yeah.
So I got to just fly
Yeah.
from Ranger School.
Yeah.
90% of the time.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
So you did the same shit.
Yeah, we did. Now
That's
it's
awesome.
door gunner for fucking ever.
What airframe?
UH-1. The Venom. My favorite. Oh yeah. My favorite.
I was in Blackhawks, but
That's why I noticed the Raiders.
Poster? Yeah.
Yeah, the Raiders poster. I was in Raiders for like 3 weeks, and then they saw my actual fucking scores, and then they were like, "No, Marsoc, bye."
What year did you get out?
06.
06?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've
Yeah.
been out a while.
Yeah,
And then, okay, so then we need to talk about that a little bit. You played baseball.
I did.
Tell me a little bit about your baseball,
Yeah.
because I know you used to. You did have a Nike
did.
hookup and the whole
Yep,
9 yards.
yeah.
I remember
So
that.
my uncle works for Nike in Beaverton. Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I got the hookup, and a little story. I helped facilitate, well, kinda facilitate a Nike deal with Mizzou.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
no kidding.
That's
because
awesome.
the athletics director at the time found out that one of my family members was a bigwig up in Beaverton, and it was like, oh well, maybe we can do some stuff. And I
Right.
was like, well, I don't know, but I'm just here to play baseball.
Oh, I wish Auburn never would have got stuck with Under Armour. Thank God that's over with. We're finally going back to Nike.
I was super happy because I was already living in the South before Missouri joined the SEC.
Really?
Yes, and I was very happy to see Texas and Missouri join the SEC and leave the Big 12.
Oh yeah.
It was a wish come true.
It don't help us SEC fans as schedules.
No,
though, that's
it
for
doesn't.
sure.
But for you Auburn fans,
Yeah, we're already little brothers.
It's-
Now we're
yeah.
even littler.
Mizzou has helped fucking battle down fucking Georgia and Alabama because we've put up more points as the new recruits on the fucking block against Alabama and fucking Georgia than any other SEC team in the fucking league.
Mizzou's been hot.
has.
Mizzou's getting hot too. They're
And I'm not
They're
talking
there.
about baseball. I'm talking about
No.
football.
Yeah,
right.
no.
I'm talking about the ball that counts down
right,
here.
right.
Yeah.
The one that pays the bills.
Yeah, the big skin.
Yeah. Well, I say I was saying no, we're a basketball school now, but then Bama had to get them Nate Oates and ruin that shit for
Yeah.
us too. God.
Did you go to flight school too?
I didn't go to flight school.
No? Okay.
No,
Were you attached to the Navy or the Air Force at all? Just straight?
straight Army.
Yeah.
I did closest thing to flight school I did. I went to called the non-rated crew member standardization flight instructor
For
course.
co-pilot?
For backseaters. I became a standardization instructor and got to teach new crew chiefs. and
That's cool as
overseers
fuck.
How to do?
Yeah.
how to
I
do
didn't
the
get
job.
that.
That's what you need, Dietz. You need your pilot license.
Actually,
I've been wanting to bad.
I actually think it would be great if like a couple of us could like go in
Yeah,
on
that's the only way to do
a
it.
plane
Yeah.
together.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
the way
that'd
to
be
do it.
dope.
I got a buddy, Jamie. That's what he does. He's in on I think like a third or a quarter of a little. I don't even remember what it is he has.
I ain't there yet, but I'm down.
Oh man,
Believe me.
me too.
I'm
Me
down.
too.
Get you a nice little 172 or
If I could go to the
Hopper
beach
180.
every
Yeah.
weekend,
And we arm that bitch too.
strap a 50 to that damn thing legally. Yeah, legally we could do that.
That's what I'm saying.
You want me to?
No, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
That aspect.
Yeah, we could definitely fucking get some shit done on that
I mean,
plane.
we could have a plane with a big marijuana leaf on the side of it, but then be strapped with a
50
50
cal
cal.
strapped to the belly
Would you
of
say a 172 AC 172 coming in?
That would be.
That'd be great.
That'd be hellacious, bro.
That would be awesome. I'd love to have. an
We'd
airplane.
show up to fucking the biggest Oshkosh, the biggest fucking air show in the world. We'd show up to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and fucking they'd be like, I don't think that's regulated. Of course not, it ain't. We fucking got a motherfucker's got a FFL. We're fucking doing this shit.
It's
We are
good. We're
legal.
good.
Yeah. Want to see it work? Flirt yourself some ground,
I
motherfucker.
can imagine how that phone conversation would go to the ATF, and I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna cross a couple state lines with some machine guns, probably a couple times a week."
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you mean? Well, I mounted it to my airplane.
Yeah.
My private airplane.
And also, there's like 4 other people that are going to be flying it. So
yeah.
it's not just me going to be. It could be.
You
You know,
need
one of
them
the other-
listed as
Yeah.
employees. I don't know if that conversation would go to.
That'd be great. I'm a clean check. I'll
me
tell
too.
you.
Me too.
Yeah.
I still don't
good
know
to
if
go.
that's one of those that you could ask for forgiveness on. I think
I'm a
you
clean
definitely-
check. Give it to me. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here. Run my background. I'm good. I'm legal. I'm very lucky that my record is clean.
My
from
figure-
the shenanigans
I
back
tell-
in the day.
I tell all my friends or family that have just gone into the army or any service. I tell them my fingerprints are dainty. They barely got them.
That was one thing I hated when doing the whole FFL thing is just giving all my information and my fingerprints but I mean that's anything these days.
I don't worry about it.
Nah, I don't care. I mean I ain't got nothing to hide, so it's who cares?
I honestly believe in my heart of hearts that my government will do me right. They'll see my fucking list and they'll be like, what is it going to pass? It's kind of like, what is that in the Bible, the Passover?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I got Passover.
You got passed over.
You know what I'm saying? I think I got blood on my Ram's blood on my
above
over
your
my door.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be the one to get kicked in.
No. I mean, I'd be a pretty boring kick in if they did.
Yeah,
Nothing too exciting.
they get some, but they ain't gonna get what they thought they was gonna get.
You know, here's a cool story. I got his book. You really should read it. I worked with a guy one time that he was pretty much Amish.
Really?
I mean, wore the long sleeves.
Yeah.
You know,
Up there on the mountain?
Well, yeah, but he's not from here. He's from Florida.
Gotcha.
So
That's strange.
Yeah.
I would get stranger. So he found
Where was he from originally, though?
Florida. So he's from the Everglades. Yeah, so he's from the Everglades.
All right.
And he was a real quiet, super nice old guy. And I mean, I can say his name's Vernon Goff. So if you look him up, he got 25 years for conspiracy to import marijuana. 25 years for this, just for conspiracy to import. This guy, he was a commercial fisherman in the Everglades. And like I said, holiness, or not holiness. Well, it was holiness, but it was an extreme version of holiness. And he didn't do caffeine. He didn't watch TV, like nothing. Well, one day we're working and we're like, hey, you know, Vernon, hey, you ever been to jail? And he was like, well, yes, sir. I was like, well, what have you been to jail for? And he said, well, I conspiracy to import marijuana. And, you know, it blew our mind because, this, you know, nice, pretty much Amish type guy, you know. So we start, you know, asking him questions, and you could tell he really didn't want to, you know, talk about it a whole lot. But being the nice guy he was, he told us all about it. This guy was a commercial fisherman in the Everglades. He knew of all, there was two ways to make money, is what Vernon would always say. He said, you either imported drugs or you fished. And he said, I was a fisherman.
Florida.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That was it.
Yeah.
Well, one day when he's out, there was a guy with a distress call, and he knew, you know, that wasn't a guy that you really wanted to mess with. But anyways, he goes over there to see if the guy needed help. And the guy had, I forget how many, couple thousands of pounds of marijuana on the boat. And he told him, he's like, Vernon, you help me today. He's like, my boat's tore up. They're after me. If you help me today, you'll never have to work another day of your life. Well, long story short, he helped him and he became the guy, and he was running weed from South America and Jamaica and several different places, to the point to where he had like several houses. He actually had to abandon his airplane in Jamaica because he found out the Coast Guard was after him one time. Well, anyways, long story short, the guy's boat ended up literally having a problem and sinking, and he lost a bunch of money from the cartel. So
That ain't good.
Cartel sent people up to take care of him. They capture this dude. They held him hostage.
The dude Vernon helped.
No, Vernon held this guy hostage.
Oh,
because they caught him coming to try to kill him. Long story short, it ended up triggering the cops and whole 9 yards. When they kicked Vernon's door in, Vernon said he drove around town for like an hour listening to him on the radio, like following him. He knew they were following him. He went home, took off all of his clothes, and got in the middle of the living room, cleared out space, and he literally heard him on the radio kicking the door, you know, about to kick the door in. They kicked the door in, and he was like, you know, the cops were so nervous. He's like, because they'd been following him for so long and thought he was just this really bad guy, and he really wasn't. I mean, he was a good guy, but that was, you know, the mentality of, you know,
Sure.
he was a weed dealer.
Word on the street
Right.
was he was a gangster.
Exactly. So he said when they came in, he was just screaming like, calm down, please. He's like, I'm naked. I don't have any guns. You know, there's nothing. They ended up busting him. I think the front page article of the Miami Herald or whatever the paper was, I believe is that right?
It's the Herald.
The Herald.
Yep.
So he brought us all the newspaper clippings and stuff. And it was like after I want to say it was a 15-year DEA, ATF, and everything investigation. Vernon Goff was arrested and blah, blah, blah. All they got him with was like $100,000. and a little bit of weed, and they gave him 25 years for conspiracy because they didn't have anything on him. Well, while
Man.
he was in prison, he found God and changed his life. And I used to always tell him, "You've got to write a book. You've got to." Now, this is when I was like 20 years, no, maybe 18 or 19 when I met Vernon. And used to tell him all the time, one day I'm going to make my fortune writing a book on your stories and
Yeah.
of everything that happened. Well, his daughter ended up doing that, and he's got a book now about it all, and it's awesome.
You
It's-
have it?
Yeah, I do. I'll give you a copy. I have
What's-
extras.
yeah.
I'll bring you one.
Bet.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah, just let me borrow it.
But that dude,
I'll read it.
I need to reach out to him. He'd be a good one
Is he
on
still
the
in?
Where's he
podcast.
live?
He's still here. He's still around.
Yeah.
Still working. Great
He's
guy.
out now.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's out. He got out when he was 50 or so. By the time I met him, he was in his 60s. He's
Get him on
probably-
Rico.
I don't know. I don't remember. Probably.
had to been.
Yeah, had to have been. You would think. But yeah, they threw it to him. It was
Kid.
it was crazy. And never busted him with anything. But he had so many stories about, like, he'd buy a new house and it'd be like, really nice house, really nice cars, whole 9 yards. And it would just get hot and he'd just leave it.
Let it go.
Yeah. And just go move on somewhere else,
What's
crazy.
What's our next subject we're on?
It don't matter. We can touch a little bit on that. Do you want to touch on that that whole scandal?
I think
With the fat?
I think it'd be interesting. I mean, you wouldn't be controversy if you wasn't getting into some controversy, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about we're talking about the licensing and the process and all the dirty, crooked politics, but that's kind of on a different level when somebody is trying to get a license and basically a direct relation to Russia.
I mean, I wanted to get a license.
Yeah.
My attorneys, I had attorneys here in Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, and down in Montgomery, all four of them, plus a paid lobbyist
But it's such a shit show that basically they
that
just
told
said, "Don't
us
touch it."
told us do not touch this.
Yeah.
Don't touch this. And we let's wait for a year and see how this goes.
Right.
And
How long ago was that?
that was recently.
Recently?
Yeah,
So it's-
recently.
It's still the same opinion.
Yeah, it's still the same. Like we're at a stay within the court system. There's no medical, nothing.
Right.
Matter of fact, the president or whoever was assigned to be the president of the Cannabis Commission had to resign.
Yeah.
And the reason why he had to resign was because they were sending all the applications down to his alma mater
Or okay.
in Southern Alabama University down in Mobile.
Mm.
Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting.
Yeah.
It goes back to
And
the hands in the cookie jar.
It was hands in the cookie jar, and I caught wind of that. And I even went and told my lobbyist. I was like, you know what they're fixing to do? She said, no, what? I said, they're fixing to send all these applications down to SAU. And she was like, really? And I was like, yep. They're going to put them in front of a non-describing board and let them filter them out.
That's exactly what they did too, wasn't it?
Yes, that's exactly what they did.
That, yeah.
They had a review board at SAU.
I didn't know it was at SAU.
Yeah,
I didn't know about that whole tie though.
And then people started figuring out that was the whole reason why the president of that cannabis commission was who he was, and that he was digging himself.
So you think
in.
that's a direct reason why we're kind of at a stalemate?
No, the direct
You
reason
think that has anything to do with it?
The direct reason why is because they violated the Public Meeting Act. They were having closed door meetings on this.
Oh, when it was supposed to be public.
When it was supposed to be open and public.
Oh, I see.
And matter of fact, there's actually
I'm sure there's a lot of those going on. Though.
So yeah, so there's actually 2 or 3 people that are on the Cannabis Commission here in the state of Alabama that were recorded during public comment times last year that said, and they were talking about tracking software. And this was just tracking a software that they were going to vote on and approve for the whole state of Alabama. And these three people said, hey, we've not gotten this packet that you all have supplied throughout the whole commission, and we haven't had time to read it. We don't know even what we're voting on. And they literally tried to hush them up.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this shit's been dirty since day one.
Yeah.
This shit's been dirty since day one.
Anything to do with politics.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and
Exactly.
again, my legal representation, 3 states plus
So
the
stay
law,
away from it.
3 states and the lobbyist said, you as a business need to stay away from this.
It's
and
crazy
it's
though.
not viable for you to
Your
do this.
business is way more legit than what the state's got going on.
Absolutely.
And
it's
people don't want to hear that though. I mean,
but it's the truth. It's why it is why we are so widely successful.
Exactly.
Because we not only speak the truth, we preach the truth,
and you stayed away from politics,
and we stay away from
Right.
politics.
but you still do it the right way.
Absolutely.
Right.
And we want free market enterprise.
Oh yeah.
So if you wanted to get in
Mhm.
and go and sell legal marijuana medically here in the state of Alabama, then you should be able to get a license.
Right.
If Will wanted to open up a business, I want Will to be able to get a license. I'm a free market person, literally.
You know, I did read something when I think it's been a couple years, but when they say this is a little controversial. When they said that most of them were going to be minority owned,
Correct, or female owned,
or female owned,
or woman owned.
right?
They push that on the bill.
They do, and I do not agree with that at all. I do not feel that you fix a problem with race or anything else by giving the other race a, what's the word for it?
Like a special not a special treatment, but
Well, it is special treatment. It is. I mean, if John wants to apply for his license and he don't get it over somebody that doesn't know shit because they're black or they're a woman, that ain't right. That ain't fixing. That ain't making things neutral. That is still giving an advantage. And I don't agree with that.
And listen to this: when they tried to push that, they even denied a person of color to get his license. Antone Mordican is a gentleman that is down in the southern portion of Alabama, down close to Montgomery, and he actually has a hemp business that's legal and all that type of stuff. He's doing the same thing that we do. Okay, he had to literally go in and fight the state to allow him a second chance after he was already approved, and then they went back and denied him. And then he had to go back in again on public comment and say, hey, if you approved me, then now why are you denying me? That doesn't make any sense.
That is weird.
Yeah. And so he's been constantly nonstop in the state's face, but he is the only black entrepreneur in this space that has literally been fighting for minority right to this program.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
jeez.
Well, we will wrap it up a little bit here. I know Will's got to get in bed.
He's already yawning.
He's got to get up early. He's got. What time you got to be there in the mornings? Oof.
You don't want to talk about Russia tonight?
We do need to touch that a little bit. Yeah, we need to touch that. We definitely need to.
You need to read that. You want to read the article again?
Well, let's just let you talk about it a little bit. So with anything, of course, there's going to be a little corruption, and there's going to be people trying to get their hand in the cookie jar. But that's scary.
How good are you with throwing a sound over our audio?
I could do that.
So I was gonna say he could read the article.
Yeah.
And you could just bleep out all the names.
Yeah, we could do that.
Just, I mean, if we wanted, or I don't want to say we want to put the article up because then that would give them, make them at least work for it, I guess.
Well, I mean, we didn't publish the article.
No,
We're just repeating.
We're just repeating.
Oh yeah, that's perfectly fine to repeat an article.
Yeah.
So okay.
It ain't on us.
No, it ain't on us. We can read that.
It ain't on us. The Alabama Medical Marijuana Commission, already facing lawsuits, might have a new controversy on its hands. Three Notch Roots, which is based in Andalusia, is alleged to have Russian oligarch ties. On the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission's website, you can look at Three Notch Roots application. There's a heavily redacted documents that show little excerpts. Some of them of shareholders whom are Andre Bloch. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right, but anyways, according to Forbes, Bloch owns more than 21% of Curaleaf, which is listed under his name as the Three Notch Roots applicant. In February, Vice News reported that Curaleaf has been heavily funded by Roman Abramovich. Anyways, best known as the former owner of a soccer club, Chelsea FC, invested hundreds of millions of dollars into medical marijuana companies, including Curaleaf. Abramovich has been in the news recent years, with the New York Times reporting that Abramovich faced sanctions from the U.S., the UK, and the European Union due to his ties to President of Russia, Vladimir Putin. In redacted documents, the company does not list Abramovich as a partner, instead listing Martha Carter owning 51% of the company. That's here in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And a quick search on Google revealed that Carter passed away in March of that year. All right.
I wonder if she voted.
We could make dead people vote. We could make them apply for marijuana licenses.
Correct.
I guess.
So both Curaleaf and Three Notch Roots did not respond directly to requests for comment.
Of course not.
And this is from WAAYTV.com too, by the way. I just want to make that apparent. Instead of referring to a statement on X, in part, Mr. Abramovich was one of many worldwide sources of capital raised over several years that said Curaleaf on X. Those loans, which were legal, well documented, and not secret, were repaid well before the start of the war. Wow. So, what war were they talking about? We're talking about cannabis. Like, what are we talking about war for? So, are we talking about Ukraine?
I think so.
I think we are.
I was looking at when I read it a minute ago. I was looking. That article's from September of 2023.
Yeah. So we're talking about laundering money.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time.
Big time. Well,
yeah.
That's interesting.
So is Alabama not going to recognize that Russia's trying to wash dirty money into the medical program here in the state of Alabama?
Definitely.
Right.
Look.
Right.
And I don't understand why it's not getting more media coverage either. I mean, you're not hearing about that much at all.
I think Russia paid to shut that down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure
did they?
You would think they probably did, because nobody's talking about it.
Folks, there's some controversy.
Yeah, controvery for you
going on right now here in the state of Alabama.
But now,
me and Matt go missing for bringing this up. Then,
yeah. If the three of us are gone next week, you know exactly what happened.
If a fentanyl dealer didn't get me, it was the commission. The commission guy. Maybe they can team up against me.
I don't know. 45. It's been a good ride.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, had a good run.
I'm still young.
Yeah, you still got some talent. You're still wet behind the ears. So they say.
I don't feel it.
You don't look it either.
that knee don't feel it.
He gave himself that tattoo.
Yeah, but I see the scar behind it. That knee don't feel it.
Oh, he probably don't know my story.
Oh no, he got folded up in a car wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it too. I'm looking at that knee. I
We
mean,
thought he was going to die. Like he thought he should have been dead. Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you got it too.
yeah, I'm with you.
I'm
not-
close.
I'm
I'm
not
close.
wrong about it.
Yeah, mine's starting to hurt when I stretch it out and leave it for a minute.
Don't stretch it out and leave it for a minute.
And I know it hurts. It's bad.
That's what she said.
I mean,
She did say that.
Well, man, I've really enjoyed talking to you as always,
so
which we have these conversations, other places.
We're good.
but-
Yeah, we're good friends. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's been great, and
Yeah.
it's been
It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm gonna swing
Oh,
by
yeah.
the shop.
please.
I need to.
Yeah,
Me
please
too.
do.
I
Yeah,
love
and we need to become more acquainted anyway.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
we'll go to 207. Have some beers on that. for sure.
yeah, or we go to Gunnersville. That's
I like
our
Gunnersville a lot
yeah.
better.
That's our new.
That's
That's
your
our
new, that's your new hood.
baby.
That's
I
Woo!
like Gunnersville. I like
Right in front of Walmart too.
Man, that's a hot spot. I wanted to put a gun store there bad. Where Taps was.
We can get the nail salon out of there and then put a gun store right next door.
Maybe I should just open a nail salon. I mean, there might be some money in that to pop up.
Apparently,
everywhere.
there's a new nail salon going in front next to Buena Vista.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you're out of luck. You're shit out
yeah,
of luck.
right there beside AT&T. Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah, there's a nail salon. Who's it? Jeff and Tammy are opening up their nail salon
Why
again.
can't we get a damn steakhouse? I mean, we got enough nails. I mean, I know that's the typical thing, and I argue with and I troll people saying, "Well, if you want one so damn bad, why don't you open it yourself?"
Well,
But it's like, why ain't somebody done it?
just
Yeah.
Why can't we get a steakhouse?
um,
I don't want to open a steakhouse. I've never opened a restaurant. We need a steakhouse.
Dude, Megan bought me a one of those smoker.
Oh yeah, I
Pellet-
seen
pellet
that.
grills.
Pellet grill.
yes, I got one for Father's Day.
That's basically what
Yeah.
I yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, I cooked the New York strip on top. I mean, it's Sean said on there, was the picture I took. He's like, "Oh, they're done. Pull them off."
Yeah, yeah.
He likes his. I think you do too. You're a
I want mine basically seared.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a medium rare guy.
Absolutely.
Oh no.
I cooked these.
Rare.
Flavor.
Or rare.
Okay.
Yeah.
I-
Or
I
rare,
cooked-
depending on what
Yeah.
What
But
cut it
nothing
is.
further though.
No,
Nothing further.
no,
Nothing
no,
further.
no.
I literally want to chew my meat and feel the pulse
Yeah, but it's
as I chew it.
but the meat needs to be freaking put in a bag and
Oh, you do that?
well, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, you want it chewable when
Yeah.
you get it
Yeah.
out on the grill,
Yeah.
so it needs to
I
get
literally throw mine
get
on the grill,
marinade.
and then I have a searing
Yeah.
torch. And it's done.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's it. It's done.
We got one of those Elon Musk fucking
Flamethrowers.
Flamethrower. I got a
Flamethrower?
legit flamethrower.
Oh,
I got
yeah?
shoot 20-foot flame.
from
yeah.
from the Vietnam era.
No, they make them these days again.
Oh,
Yeah, perfectly
okay.
legal. Anybody could buy one.
How much are those?
For the one I've got, you're looking about with the backpack and everything around $1,000 probably. But you don't have to get the backpack. They got a little tank, but I want it to last like 3
There you go.
months. and nonstop.
$1,000, Gonzo Tactical. You can get
Absolutely.
yourself a flamethrower.
Yeah, yeah. But the guy that
I need one.
is supposed to be doing our local news, Gary Morgan. One of our first interactions was me sending a picture of it held between my legs, and it was like, "Hey Gary, suck this." Yeah, because he
Just to razz up old time
oh,
sake.
yeah. Gary, we got to get him on the next episode.
Is he
He's-
coming?
Oh yeah, he's going to do it.
Bet.
Have you met him yet?
No. He and I are friends on Facebook, and
He's an interesting guy.
no, he really is. And
is.
and
We disagree on everything,
it doesn't matter.
but he's got his
Um,
facts.
No, I actually enjoy him.
Yeah, a lot of
And
people do.
and the reason why is because he doesn't post things that he hasn't investigated.
Yeah.
Oh, no. If he posts it, he has
Like
the facts.
he's not a
No.
people think he's a shit starter, but no, literally he's like he's a detective that hasn't gotten paid from our city yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he will he will go after something and he will put his all into it.
My favorite, here's my favorite, and this was before I even moved here to
You know, we
Scottsboro.
had a mayor that had to step down because of Gary's investigation. You know, he exposed the whole sex
Was the
scandal.
water at the trailer park.
Oh yeah, yeah,
He did that.
yeah. He 100%.
He took
Yeah.
care of that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I commend him
He's
for
been
that.
big about drug court too.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
he's been big on drug
Yep.
court. He likes to
So
talk
I
about
mean,
drug court. We're gonna
well,
get him to get into
the water issue for that trailer park, I think that was
commendable.
to me, no, that's a big deal.
It
Those
was.
people are drinking bad water, and then they got their water shut off. They were paying for their water.
Yep.
That was pretty illegal from the way that I look at it. I'm not again.
Right.
I'm not a lawyer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't give legal
from our point of
advice.
view,
Yeah, from
you
my
know.
point of view, it just looked like it was pretty damn illegal what was going on over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything we say on here is opinion and hearsay.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
say hearsay.
Allegedly.
Alleged hearsay.
Yeah, because I could say something and then people will be like, "Well, I'm never going to that business ever again." You know. So
You know, if anybody's been a product of that, it's this guy.
I understand.
There's a lot of people like, I would never shop with him.
Yeah, it's really taking a risk hanging out with out with Matt and Will. But
being
you
here
know,
with a degenerate is
well,
not a good look.
doesn't matter.
No.
You're definitely a good friend of mine, and we're getting there. So yeah, it doesn't really matter.
You are the company that you keep. And
Yeah.
I'd take you any day, John. You're good as gold.
I'm a product of our environment. Our environment's good, so we can't complain there.
No,
you know,
we'll keep it good.
as long as we ain't got no Russians trying to freaking sneak in and freaking take our businesses, we're good to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can support John for sure because he's not Russian. He doesn't have any Russian family. You know your sources. He says Mountaintop Dispensary. It's a good place.
Love you, brother.
Congrats on the business. You're killing it, man.
Yeah.
You're doing good things.
Gunnersville's open on July 31st for a soft opening.
That's a big day, huh?
Yeah.
July in front of the Walmart.
Yeah, and then
currently in Scottsboro, he's in front of the airport, directly across. We do have an airport,
which is fun because I get a literal
as the music.
No, yes, all the time.
You know, my buddy owns that Martin Aviation over there.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Chris Martin, super dude. Bradford with us. We're going to talk about marijuana, the legalization, the medical uses, the taboo part that's kind of coming to an end slowly. Chad, tell us what you do.
So I'm a family physician. I was trained at UAB, School of Medicine, and I finished that back in 2006. I've been practicing medicine here in Scottsboro for over 20 years.
Nice. 20 years now?
Yeah.
God, man, getting old.
I am getting old.
What year did you graduate?
1995, Scottsboro High School.
1995. Let's see, I was, maybe like 12? Something like that.
Watch this. I was born in February of 1995.
Oh, my God. Will, that's great. Very good.
That'll make you feel real old quick. Real old.
My joints are already hurting even more now.
Yeah. I wake up every morning with a new ache and pain. It is ridiculous. It sucks. But at least we've got a little bit more options for medicine these days.
Yes, we do.
You know, it's been a really good thing for me, for sure. You know, and taking pharmaceutical drugs, you know, made by a man to help me sleep at night versus taking something natural. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer, but it's not a no-brainer to most people, especially in the Bible Belt. It's kind of a new territory, it seems like, but people are coming around. I mean, they're really coming around. What are you seeing as far as like the demographic of it? What are you seeing now that, you know, comes into the wellness center more? I mean, what kind of people do you see normally?
It's a good question. We see patients of all ages. What's really growing right now, it's really hot, is the 65 and older group. Those patients are really looking for pain options, and they're looking for safer pain options.
Right.
And so when I start talking about medications to control pain or whatever you would, one of the main things you look at is how much harm that medicine could do.
Right.
So as a holistic physician, you look at the harm that something supplement could cause or medicine before you look at what it will do.
Right.
In a way. So I think cannabis serves that safety role, and that's one reason I feel strongly about its medical use.
Right. Now, are you more on the edible side? I mean, as a doctor, I'm sure you probably don't recommend people just go smoke flower
Right.
as much, but that's pretty much what you have at like the wellness center and stuff is more along those lines, right?
So yes, always sell as edible products. We do sell a topical product. We do sell a tincture product, which can classify as all edibles. And the smokable products we just don't handle. Specifically for anything that's heated is kind of in the medical world not good for you, not considered healthy.
Mhm.
So as far as a wellness co, I don't think it's unhealthy to use those products in a way. I do think burning the cannabis is probably less healthy for you than would be a wax form or concentrate form, or also best as an edible form.
Right.
And I think most of the medical information I've garnered is from patients taking edibles.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's what I was about to say. So I guess because I mean, like Matt said, it's a taboo subject to a lot of people.
Yes.
And studies are happening every day. Why this is better, why this is good, why it works. Especially on the medical side. How are they testing for that? I'm just curious on that. Like, is it all purely off of edibles, or do they try different variations of it? Do they say, okay, well, if edibles, this works with edibles, or this is what happens when a person eats an edible or takes an edible, whatever, versus if they smoke or however, topical, however else.
That's a good question. So it sort of dives into politics. We're going into politics. We go back to 1970 when Nixon was president, okay? So he passed what's called the Controlled Substance Act of 1970. That made cannabis a Schedule I drug, which means it has no medical use. So federally, cannabis has never been able to be studied clinically.
But now recently,
Scientifically.
the DEA has said they're going to reclassify marijuana as a Schedule 3, I believe it was.
Yes, Schedule 3.
Okay.
That's what they've suggested they're going to do.
Right. That's been the proposed.
Talk.
Right.
Yeah.
So what made them go just automatically Schedule 1? Just
Reefer madness.
I was about to say, just because of what they didn't like about it, because of religious beliefs or whatever, or
So it's a history lesson. So go back, the Vietnam War, right? Hippies were there. So this is how bad it got. They told the hippies left. They went to Nepal. And then Nixon called Nepal and said, hey, man, you need to make marijuana illegal in India so you'll get rid of the hippies. So they were just escaping political,
That's all they were
imprisonment here in the United States. So it's most of the cannabis laws, it's been shackled for politics.
which is,
and politics and healthcare don't mix.
don't drive. Politics on a lot of things don't drive.
You got that right.
Ronald Reagan had more damage to do to marijuana than about
Probably,
anybody,
yeah, he
really.
probably did too.
That whole 3 words, just say no.
Yeah, the drug war.
Yes. That really, which I was too young to really remember it. But, growing up, I was always raised as, marijuana is like heroin. Same
Right,
thing.
yeah.
If you do marijuana, you're eventually going to be strung out on heroin.
And you're going to go
the gateway
jail.
drug.
And you're going to go to jail. It's
Yeah.
gateway.
Lose your job.
Yes. Anybody that smokes weed is a bad person. It's just a stigma that's been my entire life until recently. And it's been nice to actually feel like, you don't have to be in the closet anymore. You don't have to. And people think that, well, if you're against drugs then and you're pro marijuana, that's, you're contradicting yourself. But finally, people are starting to view marijuana as something totally different for what it really is and what it could be. And I don't even think we really know what it could be at this point. I mean, research is just now really starting to take off, but it's getting better. It's getting a lot better, and I'm sure you wish it would get a lot better.
I wish it would get a lot better. And, I see so many folks in the office that hurt every single day, and they're able to take an edible and replace some of their opioid medications with that safely and provide themselves a safer self-medicine.
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of ironic for me as a physician that want people to take medicine safely and not have to come into the office to have treatment.
Exactly. I had a buddy that he died of ALS, and the only quality that he got for years of his life was, eating edibles and having an appetite and this and that. But, then you look at cancer patients, you look at all these people that it does benefit before it was okay, and it's about time things are catching up. But I feel like, we're here in the Bible Belt, so it's going to be a little slower around here than most places, but we're catching on. We're definitely catching on. What do you see the most of, people come in that's replacing their medication with marijuana? What is the most common thing that, you recommend it for?
Well, I will correct you. We're talking about medical hemp in the state of Alabama.
Right.
Sorry,
CBD,
CBD,
whatever you want to call it.
So yes, so those supplements can replace multiple prescriptions, and I would call those pluralific effects.
Mhm.
And I like drugs that do that, and also drugs that are safe. And I would classify cannabis as one of my toolbox drugs that I like to use for pain, anxiety, sometimes ADHD and insomnia. Those are the big conditions that we see cannabis really shine in.
Nice. Now, what about the people that come to you and they say, "Well, I work at wherever, and so I can't do that." I mean, I'm sure you have that happen probably more than
a
not.
lot.
Yeah.
Too many times. And that's an employer driven thing, and OSHA driven federal law, going back to the Schedule 1 Substance Act again. I won't go back in that again, but yes, those are employer driven laws, and those are employer specific laws. They have the right to test you for anything if they're paying your paycheck.
Right.
So unfortunately, there is a little bit of a slippery slope. I will tell you that is not a universal trend in this town, because obviously I see lots of different patients from lots of different occupations.
Right.
So, but unfortunately, the employers will have to deal with this when we get a medical law. We're going to have a medical law in the state of Alabama pretty soon.
Yeah.
And so those legal things will be handled by the legal courts, I guess. I won't speak on that, but I will tell you that I feel like it's a really good move.
I feel like it's way overdue.
Yes.
I mean, if I can fly to Vegas this weekend and walk into a dispensary and smoke whatever I want, and then come back and fail a drug test for child custody,
Yeah.
and lose my kid for it,
No, that's unacceptable.
It completely is.
For something that's legal.
Yeah.
Where it's not like you went and smoked meth or did whatever crazy.
I did what was legal in that state to do.
That
And then come back to Alabama and suffer the consequences. And it's not right at all. I mean, it's
a form of discriminatory behavior, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's the modern form of discriminatory behavior is health discrimination.
Right.
And it's unacceptable.
It really is. It really is. I mean, people can quote religion, they can quote, whatever they want, but when it comes down to it, I just feel like the government needs to be like, we screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
We made the mistake of going too far with marijuana and classifying it with heroin and, opioids and everything else. And it's such a double standard, and it's getting better, but it's not getting better fast enough around here. I feel like, we're still behind, which I know we voted in 21 or they passed in 21, the whatever act, or what was it with the marijuana commission,
Like the Compassion Act.
Yeah,
I think it was, or something like that.
right. And that opened the door. Same with the Farm Bill Act. I mean,
Right.
the Farm Bill Act made a big difference.
Well, that's like just by definition, we've had, and we're in. I still feel an opioid epidemic.
Oh yeah,
There's never been a weed epidemic. There's never been people dying because of how much weed they smoked or this, that. and
There's
the
never
other.
been a reported overdose.
Right, exactly. So
I think they've given people 30,000 times the dose of cannabis and they haven't died.
right, exactly. And
Seriously?
so then how is
It's all driven by politics and big pharmaceutical companies. And I will tell you, I work with big pharma all day long. They are the enemies of cannabis.
Oh,
they're,
absolutely.
yeah, they're the
And they
enemies.
should be
Yeah.
ashamed of themselves. So for the patient's sake.
What was that? The Netflix movie, was it Painkiller? Did
Yeah,
you watch
the
that?
Purdue Boys.
Oh man, that was something. That is really, really something.
And, it
It's-
brings me into medical education. So this is really important. So medical education, the physician education in this country 20 years ago was to treat with opioids to the point you don't get a sad face, right?
Right.
It's pain scale 0 to 10.
Right.
Yeah.
So we were actually, during my residency, we're told if this patient did not have a morphine prescription or Ortab or whatever, that we would be liable medically for that. So we would be able to be sued. Now, 20 years down the road, I have a report card for every one of my pain patients that says what they take, how much they take, where they get it, where they go to get it, if they got it from another doctor or whatever the story is. So it's a record that follows you forever and ever and ever through your medical record that you take opiates. It's crazy.
Well, it's kind of like in my world, in the gun world, of course, when they started talking about the red flag laws and all that. I mean, it's like you could be persecuted for taking an antidepressant or taking anything. You're considered a mental case then,
Mental
right.
illness.
So then you can't have a gun, you can't have this, you can't have that. And it's still that way, like with my federal licensing. Like technically, I don't know if I should say that I openly smoke marijuana in a state that, that doesn't allow it, but that's where we're at right now. We're on that gray area, that thin line, and hopefully they're supposed to be. When are the dispensaries supposed to start popping up? When is the commission going to move forward and actually start doing something? Because I know since 21, it's kind of been at a stalemate, it seems like. Nothing's really moved forward. I think they had like a September deadline at one point or something. They missed that. And there's not really been any guidelines laid out yet.
Super frustrating. I get questions every day about this. When's this happening? I've heard they passed the law. Why are they not doing anything? This is a constant story we get from politicians these days, y'all. I mean, this is over and over and over again. If you watch the news, they're constantly sitting on their butts, not passing anything to help patients out. So yes, they're dragging their feet over money once again. Yeah. So where's the money? Where's the money? Can I get my money? And then patients suffer. So once again, we have a law that's been passed but not been implemented because of capitalist gains. Right. So they can't figure out who to do what with.
The right pockets just
exactly.
haven't been packed.
Exactly. That's all it is.
They can't figure out where the money needs
to
go.
Exactly.
Well, when you're going up against big pharma, I mean,
that's why.
There's no money that compares to that.
No.
So, I mean, what you're up against everything, essentially.
Yes.
But I don't understand why big pharma doesn't start utilizing more cannabis. You see these new companies coming out, with the cannabis, but big pharma, you ain't got them people really dabbling in marijuana. You don't see it as much.
Why would you think that was the case?
Profit margin.
My
sure.
guess is because they bring that out, that takes away one. Bringing out marijuana is going to get rid of 10 drugs.
Right.
Prescription drugs that they hand out
all
to make
profit
money
on.
off.
Yeah.
Will's right. And it's a farmer's business. I will tell y'all. And I grew up, my grandpa's a cattle farmer, grow crops, but cannabis is ruled by the farmers and they control the product. So they're the ones that make it good or make it bad or whatever. Right. Matt knows that. So, all these things are politics that are controlling the farmers. And so that's really sad.
That's what
it really is. It's, but it's a different world now than it was 10 years ago. And hopefully in 10 years, it'll be a hell of a lot better than it is now.
Hope and pray.
But I mean, it seems like it's on the uptick. I mean, it is on the uptick. It's definitely getting better for sure, but not soon enough for my liking. That's for sure. But so recently, they have started. Let me get into what Shelby was
Okay,
talking
no
about first. The cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome.
Hyperemesis.
Yeah, hyperemesis.
Okay.
She was wanting to know because she keeps seeing it on diagnoses in the ER, and she wants to know. Let's see what she asked. Do you think it's related to the increase in use or another factor? Patho is unclear. What are your suspicions? Why are cannabinoids used for chemo-induced nausea if this is so common?
You ask me. Okay. So there's several. That's a kind of a loaded question. First of all, that syndrome is very rare.
Right.
I will tell you. It occurs in patients that either consume too much cannabis at one time, or they've been off of it and they reconsume it, or they may have something else going on. They're just kind of, they have a positive THC and they say you have
and they
that.
go with that.
Right. So when I was in residency, that happened a lot, but there may be a few people that have it. The biggest thing is consuming too much cannabis at one time or in a rapid amount of time will cause the nausea, cause the feel bad, mislabeling of products. I've seen in gas stations, and that's one of the reasons why I started selling products through my store, was the mislabeling of products in gas stations. People don't know what they're buying. They're taking all kinds of isolates and fillers and whatnot. So that's just not good for people. So they go and take a bunch of stuff. They don't know what it is, and that makes them nauseated. Now, we'll kind of go into a little bit with cannabis hyperemesis syndrome. One way to combat that is chamomile tea. Chamomile tea will reverse the bad effects of cannabis. And if you can get that down them, I promise you it'll help.
Really, chamomile.
And that may first of all, don't consume too much, right? If you can help it. But if you do, maybe your buddy will go get you some chamomile tea.
Get you some chamomile tea.
Nice warm tea.
Right.
Everybody jot that down.
Yeah.
So cannabis hyperemesis syndrome, first of all, in my clinical diagnosis, I'm not an ER doctor. I don't see that a lot. I would imagine it has to do with dosing and all that sort of stuff.
You also were talking about, the stuff that's at the gas station and this and that. What's scary is there's no regulations for what they're even putting in it at this point. I mean, there's none. So going to a place like your wellness center, at least people know what they're getting,
Yes.
And that's why, I've told a lot of people to go to John Dietz over at Mountaintop Dispensary, which hopefully he'll show up eventually, but he may have forgot.
He overslept.
He probably did. Too much marijuana.
Yeah, that's okay. It makes you sleepy. We'll indica there.
It happens. But it's really scary for these people that are buying stuff at the gas station because, I mean, don't forget those gas stations were selling bath salts not too long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's scary what you could be getting. I mean, you have no idea. With all these different variations now, you got Delta 9, Delta 10, Delta 11, HHC, whatever, I can't even keep up with all of it. So when they buy something from you, I assume it's more of a medical grade CBD and...
Good question. So when we searched our wholesaler, we wanted to make sure that it was a full spectrum hemp derivative. We wanted to make sure that it was a non-GMO, CGMP, those sort of products, organic label, and the place we get it from also has a FDA certification. And for me as a medical doctor, that's really important.
Right.
So we're able to source those products with a wholesale and then turn them and get them to our patients.
So the legalities of a doctor suggesting hemp. Sorry, hemp.
It's okay.
Medical hemp. I'm not used to calling it hemp, but I guess what the Farm Bill made that okay, or
so that's a good question. I get that a lot. So what makes it medical hemp? What makes it marijuana? Right. So genetically, a seed could turn into either marijuana or CBD. Right. The law is who takes that a step. They're the ones that say weight, 0.3%, weight divided by weight has to be less than 0.3% Delta 9 THC.
Right.
That's what the law states. It classifies it as hemp.
But it doesn't say you can't consolidate it all.
It doesn't say that. So, for example, I use our Delta 9 gummy, our hemp-derived Delta 9. They're 10 milligrams around about. So either 10 milligrams divided by 5,000 milligram gummy, and it's like a 0.002 or 0.002 0.002.
Mhm.
So that'll give you 0.2% THC concentration, weight divided by weight, just a simple calculation. So yes, so you could have up to almost you have a 15 milligram hemp-derived D9 gummy in a 5,000 milligram weight gummy. And that would be considered legal and hemp derivative.
So I mean, it doesn't matter as long as it came from hemp.
Right.
Pretty much.
I'll tell you, I think there's probably, the marijuana derivatives for medicine have a little bit more potency. And I'm not for sure exactly why that is. If you find out, let me know. But there are some differences in that. And I don't know if it's probably the processing or something like that. But one of the things that I do like about our gummies that I really like, they're evenly shaped. So when I instruct people on how to dose it, I'll tell them to quarter the gummy. So they have a gummy that's just a smaller dose. Also to our child safe bottles. We don't want kids to get in your gummies.
Right.
And then also dosing on the bottle, no more than 2 gummies in a day.
Speaking of kids,
Yes.
What is your opinion on, like, say you've got a hyperactive child or you've got some type of problem that you would normally suggest hemp or CBD or whatever?
How old are you?
Yeah. What is there a certain age where you?
There's really no certain age for medical, but I would tell you that, if they're less than 18, I would definitely involve the parent. I would definitely need to see them like in a visit and talk to the parent and make sure that everything's okay with that. But I will tell you, I have seen some children, if you would, do very well with CBD products for autism or stuff like that.
So I have a kid he's on the spectrum, and we've looked at some of these things. My fiance is a nurse practitioner, and she is an idiot. So we don't want to use. We don't want to put the kid on Adderall.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want to put the kid on something along those lines.
Or stuff.
Right. So it kind of comes down to, like, why would you not? I mean, why would you not try a more natural approach than, just throwing your kids on Adderall or this or that, which a lot of parents do. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I mean, that's your choice. But me personally, I don't want my kid on Adderall, unless they have to be on Adderall.
Just like they have the choice to put their kid on Adderall. Why is it so taboo for you to have the choice to put your kid on?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, thinking about it kind of backwards like that, that's my choice. It's my choice. You're right. It is your choice. This is also my choice.
Right.
So
I think it really would take, obviously a comfortable provider that was comfortable in prescribing hemp to, a younger individual.
But then that goes down to, say you got a split family.
Yeah, I know. You're in trouble.
One of them's put their kid on, marijuana gummy it may have been a miracle drug, but it don't matter in the court. In the court, you just drugged your kid. You're probably going to jail, So I mean, it's very screwed up.
And I guess that falls back on politically, it's not okay, which means
that's why we need the federal government to get off their ass and finally do something,
or stay out of it.
Right. Well, they've done got in it now. So
right, they're in it. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, they're going to have to clean up their mess first, because I mean, as of right now, they're doing a lot of backpedaling when it comes to marijuana, really.
And you were talking about the deschedulization, if you would, deschedulization, moving that cannabis class to a Schedule 3. Your wife may be able to shed some light on this, but I do have some concern about that, because what that would do is, in a lot of states, is it makes hemp illegal. And so what these states will do, and actually there's a law in Illinois going through right now to try to take some things out of the Farm Act, and one of those is Delta 8. And I will tell you, even though it's done by chemical reaction, it is still a hemp product. And I'll have a lot of patients that medically take diet weed, if you want to call it that, and they have a lot of really good effects with it. So I don't know, you have non-medical people, once again, providing medical input, and I totally disagree with that. If you don't have a medical degree, a nurse practitioner, PA, whatever you want to call it, I think you need to kind of stay out of it, really, and keep your mouth shut.
On the medical side of it.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
absolutely.
So,
I don't even try to stick my foot in there even a little bit. Like, no. And every time I do, Shelby makes sure she corrects me.
Yeah, I bet she does.
She's really good at that.
Good.
Yeah, she's really good at that.
Going back to the talking about the, what makes it marijuana versus hemp, is the weight of the seed.
Right. Or weight of the gummy.
Weight of the medicine.
Weight of the medicine. Yeah.
Weight of the, yeah.
It could be, and that's why concentrate is so hard to get in hemp form.
Okay.
Because it doesn't weigh enough.
Gotcha. So there's no real difference in what it is.
Not necessarily.
And, versus
the law is what makes the definition.
So that's what I was wondering. So
yeah,
it's not like
Mother Nature.
It's not like, right. Okay. That's what I was about to say. It's not like later on down the maturity line of the seed, does it do this or this to make it marijuana? It's purely just
Mother Nature.
Okay. That's I was
now, are they bred to be more CBD seeds and have more CBD to THC? Yes, they are. And even in legal states, you'll see people that like to take more CBD, and actually CBD is more expensive than THC.
Lord, yeah.
Just
yeah, I mean, just dollar for dollar, it's just a more expensive product. So and it's just interesting to kind of follow everything.
Yeah, no, I told you guys about this when we started. I'm not against it at all.
Right.
I'm a big advocate for it because I do know for sure that it doesn't nothing but good. Just like anything, can you abuse it? Yeah, I'm sure, but not to the point that you're gonna overdose or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's a gateway drug. I think they need to take that verbiage out
completely.
Yeah,
I think me and Matt talked about that.
It's a gateway drug to food. Other than that, it's true. I've never like smoked weed and be like, damn, I want some crack. It's like crack sounds delicious right now. It's like I've never been to that point. I mean, don't get me wrong, I may just be so high I just want a new buzz. But other than that,
new buzz and some Doritos or something.
Exactly. I want some Little Debbie's. Little Debbie's is my thing. Always. Gotta keep them out of the house. Thank God for Ozempic.
Thank God.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
It's been the greatest thing ever.
That's the greatest thing ever.
Oh, God, yeah.
I think that's been the biggest reason why I've, not dove into smoking a lot. Is because I love Little Debbie's as it is.
You afraid you're going to be 400 pounds?
Yeah. Like, I don't think they take me on my 600-pound life. So, I can't be getting that big and won't be able to do anything.
I'd be your little guy that was enabling, shoveling food at you, Here's your weed and your munchies.
Yeah.
600 pounds later. God.
Funny stuff.
No, so now, we talked about the legalization, where we're kind of at on that. But in Alabama, in 2021, it was, I guess, when everything kind of got going. And we're kind of at a stalemate now. Where do you see where we're at, like right now, and as far as in the state?
So that's a good question. I actually got a phone call today, and we're starting a patient advocacy group, and we're forming that to help get the medical law pushed. I'm actually in charge of that. I didn't really know that till today. So
awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
But we're trying to recruit. So if any of y'all are listening tonight that are medical professionals, your wife included, I'd love to get her on my list.
Oh, yeah.
I would love for you to contact me somehow to get me your contact information where I can share that. Because the more medical professionals that are in the advocacy group, the more clout we will have to get this law passed.
So now what will be the process? Like, say you get a bunch of people, a bunch of doctors or whatever else, what will be the next process? Like,
so what I've been told, that this is obviously a political thing, so I don't really know a lot about it, but it's something to do with lobbying. So they would, once we form an advocacy group and raise enough money, we would be able to encourage the politicians to go ahead and sign the law and get the law moving, and actually, as that would be called, law implementation, maybe, where I can actually write prescriptions for patients to take medical cannabis, medical marijuana. So those would be 21 and older. That would be a prescription, I think, for at least 2 years, maybe, or maybe 3. I know in other states it's up to 3 years. Those certifications are usually around $100 a piece every time you do that. And then you have to pay the state, I think, another $30, $40. That's usually the standard in most states. And that would allow you to purchase up to a certain amount per month through a medically designated pharmacy. You have to designate the dispensary, not pharmacy, dispensary. I think that they're up to 10 dispensary licenses in the state. Don't quote me on that.
Oh, they
And
got that many
they
now?
haven't finalized yet. They just released those 5 extra.
Oh,
So I
really?
think there's going to be 10 dispensaries, and the Huntsville one is actually just blooming as of today.
Nice.
So I'm really proud of that one because the other one is in Athens, and that's a long ways away.
Yeah,
So
it
we
is.
definitely, and I was really proud of Scottsboro City passing the city ordinance for medical cannabis. Don't know if y'all know that.
Yeah, it was great.
So that was really good. So the mayor and city council, I appreciate all their help on that. So we're one step
Absolutely.
ahead of all the other communities in the county.
It
So
honestly surprised
yeah,
me.
it was
Honestly,
awesome.
I mean, I was really glad to see that go
Yep.
through.
Really good.
We've got a great mayor.
Yep,
We really
you're
do.
right.
He's really been good for this
He's all
town.
over it.
Really has. So I guess everything's going to be edibles. There's no smoke. There's no anything like that that's going to be available. How do you feel about that?
You know, I haven't really read the full law, and I didn't know that was actually what the verbiage is in there. I don't know how the other states have done that.
I seen like Georgia. You know, Georgia's pretty much all edibles. There's no flour, but they can have a vapable oil or an inhalable oil, as they say. But in ours, it kind of looked like it's just going to be straight edible gummies. That's it. And I just really didn't understand like why they wanted to limit it just to edibles or capsules when, you know, that does take longer to take effect.
You know, I don't know the answer to that.
Really, I just wasn't sure. I didn't know if anything had changed. You know, since the last time that I looked, that's the way it kind of seemed was going to be all straight edibles.
I do know they've had some changes to the law recently.
Really?
Because at one time they were limiting, different things, but I think they have made some changes to the law.
Oh, that'd
Not
be good.
exactly what
Right. It's been a while since I've looked. I've just been glad to see marijuana in Alabama in the same sentence and the hot
Yeah.
headline. It's like, finally. But you know, a lot of people have this whole stigma of marijuana as people just want to get stoned, you know. And what they don't understand is for a avid marijuana user that uses regularly versus that person that, you know, smokes one time and is completely blitzed out of their mind. You know, they have this mentality of that's what marijuana does to you. You know, they only have this idea of like, I'm going to get so messed up and eat all my food and then feel like crap and go to bed. You know, they think that they're going to be here every single time. You know, they don't understand that, you know, you build up a tolerance just like anything else.
It's just like
and
alcohol.
eventually, right. It's not going to be that scary, you know, high, which most of the time people always smoke too much the first time anyways, because they don't know what they're doing. They're going to sit there and smoke a whole joint of, you know, who knows what, but it's just, it drives me crazy. Like my aunt was dying of lung cancer and she was a big lady, you know, she was a pretty big lady. And she started losing a lot of weight. She couldn't eat, had no appetite, you know. And this was probably 10 years ago, getting close to it now. So I remember she went to her cancer doctor and she was like, you know, my nephew's been trying to get me to, you know, do some edibles because she wouldn't smoke. She had lung cancer. And he looked straight at her back then. And he said, absolutely not. That is illegal. And just nodded at her. So she was in after that. You know, she was the mayor's secretary. So she wasn't going to be like, you know, just go smoke weed, you know, because she was very by the book, very by the book. But it was really hard for her to, you know, do that just because of, you know, being in that boomer age of marijuana is the devil, you know, it's a gateway drug, the whole 9 yards. But it's getting there. It's getting there. But people like her, there's a lot of those people that just really don't understand, and it would never be an option for them just because they have that old school mentality of that's what it's going to do. So,
and that's what I was about to say on it. I think a lot of the taboo part of it that where people just are completely against it is not because they have a bad experience with it or because of this, that, and the other. It's pure ignorance.
Oh yeah,
to the topic. And I don't, you shouldn't pass a judgment or pass a decision based on ignorance, because at that point you can say, well, astronauts are the dumbest people on the planet because they're going to the moon and they're doing this and doing that or whatever. They're not dumb. They know what they're doing. They've studied it.
Right.
So you're ignorant to that situation. So yeah, you get to go, no, I'm not doing that. But if you learned it, you'd probably be into it.
Right.
Just
You know a
like
little
with
more about
marijuana. If you learn about it, see what it does, see what it can do, and actually experience it on a personal level, not just because Big Pharma or whoever is telling you it's the worst thing, ever. I think a lot of people, especially around here, a lot of people would look at it completely different just if they had a little bit of knowledge on it.
Right.
Outside of what's being fed to them.
Or had somebody that was giving them the correct dose to know
Yeah.
for whatever
If
their problem is.
Right.
Which that's where Chad comes in.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely where you come in. But so right now, are you sourcing everything out of state?
Yes.
Everything's
so
out
our
of
farm
state?
grows in Oregon.
Oh, okay.
And so they grow in Oregon, they ship to Jacksonville, they process in Jacksonville, and then we private label there, and it comes here to Scottsboro.
Oh, okay.
They drop ship here, and so we do have our first John Moore, nurse practitioner over in Valley Head. He is consigning. That's our first consignment, and we
Nice.
actually have another consigner here in town pretty soon.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's really exciting.
Yeah.
We're wanting to grow that way and just real organically, and
That'd be nice.
I'm excited about it.
So you hope to eventually source all in state?
Yeah, I'd like to source. I'd love to give it to somebody in state that's a really good grower. When you start down this route and source stuff in state, if I can find a good quality grower.
No, I believe somebody's doing it in Stevenson. I believe there's a.
Yeah, there's several.
Yeah.
John and Stevenson. I think there's somebody in Henniger. I'm not really for sure.
Yeah, I did hear Henniger. Has that one already got started?
I'm not for sure.
I heard it was coming, but I didn't know how far along it was. And
I
I heard
would
something
say
about a processing plant or something up there too in Henniger.
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
That's what it is. And I didn't realize this about cannabis, but you got your licenses for your growers, the farmers. You got your licenses for your processors. You have your licenses for your distributors, and you have your licenses for your dispensaries. So you have 4 separate layers of licenses. And so it's like, it blows my mind to think of all the wheels they've got to get turning to actually implement a law that has been done in other states since literally nearly 10 years ago. It is so sad for patients. I have patients that are suffering every day because of this poor political action. And I will tell you, it is a big problem.
It is. It really is. And I mean, I think it's going to take, changing people's minds about it to where, Republicans, Democrats, whatever, but I guess you would say I'm a Republican. I mean, as much as you can be, but there's a line drawn in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there really is, to where it's kind of got this idea now that, the Democrats are pro weed, the Republicans ain't, whatever. And which that's any problem we have in the world today. There's going to be a line drawn in the sand. But it seems like it's starting to get better. When I go to the smoke shop and I see this little old lady with her church bun walk in and be like, yeah, I need a quarter of blah, 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 it warms my heart. It's like, wow, how precious. It's like, look at this precious little pothead. I love it. It's like, she's so cute. It's like, why can't it be my grandma?
That's great, man. I love that.
But it's funny though. It is hilarious though. I've got an old homicide detective that has worked for me for a long time, and he's a good guy. He's pushing 70. But he busted people his whole life for weed. He's always been drug and homicide, and he's finally to the point where he's like, I think I might try it. And it's got to that point. So to hear somebody like him, be like open to it, it's great. I mean, it's absolutely great, because 20 years ago, he never would have said that. I mean, that never would have even been an option for him. So, I mean, we're getting there, but I guess it would probably take me handing it to him to get him to finally ever actually do it. But that's a lot of people. But it's becoming available now. Like you said, you can get it at a gas station. I wouldn't buy that stuff, but I mean, it's everywhere. It's in your face. So it's it bothers me to an extent for like my children's generation, because they're going to look at it just like a beer or anything
Cigarettes
else, which I don't really have a problem with, because I feel like, if somebody chooses to do that, there's no difference in them doing that or drinking a beer. I mean, it ought to all be the same. But then you look at it on the medical aspect, and it's got its benefits there for sure. But it's just kind of it, it's easing up, and it's good to see. I love seeing the little white haired ladies, smoking weed. It's great, or hemp, hemp as we call it. So what actually got your interest in this? I mean, has it been your whole career? Have you kind of had an interest in marijuana, or is this something that kind of came up more recent?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when we were I was in residency at Huntsville Hospital, a lot of the dying patients we saw had HIV, and that was before all the new medicines came out.
Right.
And it was interesting. A lot of those patients were self-medicating with THC, obviously black market marijuana. And I kind of drew interest to that. Every single HIV patient that came in just about was positive for THC. And, back then it was sort of taboo still. They're using drugs and all, whatever. But when you start talking to them, they not only have lots of pain, neuropathy, drug-associated pain, but also they have a lot of nausea. And so what I really put two and two together was, Dr. Chad, why are you still using opioids that cause nausea? Why do you not have a medicine in your toolbox that can control pain and also nausea? Right. So going back to the question about the hyperemesis syndrome, I think that may be misdiagnosis.
Right.
Because
I think that's where
very
she was kind of going with
few patients that I see that take medical cannabis or medical hemp have nausea as a side effect.
Yeah, I've never smoked and been nauseous from it. No. Like never.
And
never.
What's really weird about it too is you say, you smoke, you eat. But if you constantly stimulate those cannabinoid receptors, guess what happens? The body down regulates those receptors, and guess what? You eat less. And that's really fascinating. So the stoner guys you see, they're probably your skinny guys.
Yeah.
They're not the ones that are going to eat all the donuts. They're probably the ones that aren't eating a lot,
right.
Which is really weird.
You are pretty skinny.
And there's a lot of well, don't draw too many conclusions, man. But there are a lot of drugs being investigated now that work on the endocannabinoid system. The endocannabinoid system is the main pathway in the brain. It wasn't discovered until 2013, and so because of the scientific restrictions, the endocannabinoid system is what controls all those pathways. We know that now.
That's interesting. I'll have to do some research on that.
ECS.
That's a new one to me. ECS?
Yes.
I might remember that.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit, though? Like, I mean, you don't have to go into super detail, but it was just discovered in 2013.
Yes. So the endocannabinoid system is where the synapses of the neuron cells connect. And so the way those cells talk to each other is through cannabinoids. It is an endogenous, meaning within our bodies already. So all we do when we smoke cannabis is we augment that system. They're already functioning there. Cannabinoids are. The receptors are.
Right.
So they help the body and the neurons balance themselves. That's called homeostasis.
I've heard that word before.
So cannabis actually balances our bodies.
So, okay, yeah. So
those receptors
and everything,
endocannabinoid,
they're already there. They're doing their thing,
always working.
And all cannabis is doing is coming in and
calming them down,
regulating them, or getting them. You're here. Here's where you need to be.
They're balancing you out.
Let's slow down and let's
get. That's interesting. I've never heard that.
Well, see, and that's kind of like a really good segue because I was going to bring up my brother.
Yeah,
and like I said, he's had 2 brain surgeries, entire front right lobe gone because of infection and this and the other. all that happened with him in 2013, same time that was discovered. So I mean, that just goes to show that you can't turn away at something right now.
Oh, no.
Because you can say, well, it doesn't do anything for this. Like, okay, well, we don't know. We just discovered a part of the something in the brain 10, 11 years ago. So it might do something for that, and it does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then you got Rick Simpson. So you got most of the evidence with cannabis is anecdotal, correct?
Right.
So it's you say, he says, we
Yeah.
say it works. Rick Simpson, he's a famous Canadian. There's a lot of people in Canada that smoke pot, use cannabis. Almost 30% of Canadians use cannabis every single day. How many do you think Americans use cannabis every single day? Will? How many Americans are there? We went over this earlier.
Yeah, it's 330 million.
Okay. So how many percentage of Americans use cannabis every day?
Well, you said 17%?
18%. That claim to. How many percentage use alcohol every day?
14 and a half.
Man, you're good, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
Got that memory working
what
today.
about that? Endocannabinoids working.
Yeah, I was over here lost. I was like, I don't remember any of this.
So
shit.
yeah, numbers. But yeah, I do think that that the main reason that cannabis the two main reasons it has not been used as a major drug is big pharma and lack of research due to politics. Those two things is what's imprisoned a poor plant that you can grow in your tomato garden.
Yeah, and do a lot more better.
Possibly than the dangerous
a lot more
medicines,
good,
and less
Yeah,
harm. Less harm. We went back to that.
Yeah.
What is the least amount of harm you can do to a patient?
Yeah.
Hippocratic oath. First is what? What is it, Will? When I got to be a doctor, do no harm.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah,
Wow.
but
We're getting deep.
but do no harm.
So I
but
took
then-
an oath to do that. So
Right.
why, in my good judgment, as a good doctor, right?
Would you put somebody?
Would I put
on
somebody
medicine?
on opioids that they can be dangerously addicted to and die from, or recommend something that would be safer for them?
Right. Yeah.
As a doctor,
That's
where I'm going. That's all I'm saying.
Seems like a no-brainer, really.
Well, yeah, you would think so.
I mean, you would, but not with many people. Not with a lot of them.
Well, while we're on the subject, real quick, because I do want to ask you. So, like,
Yes,
my brother, like I said, kind of talked about it. He's, because of everything, he's on a lot of medication, twice a day and all that. And I should have talked to my mom, but they did some type of CBD or trial, something with him a couple of years ago, but he already sleeps a lot because of all the medication.
right.
And then you put him on CBD or, something like that. It makes you sleepy. I mean, and is that just due to, because they didn't pull him off of all of his medication and go, here, just try this, because they couldn't, he would he'd be in a full blown grand mal seizure. And
So you're talking about a seizure medicine?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be difficult. So it is hard to get cannabis to replace a full-blown prescription medicine. I'm not going to lie. It's not a panacea. I use it in my toolbox a lot. There are situations where cannabis does not work. I'm not going to tell you it works in every situation.
Right. Yeah.
And, it's a case-by-case basis. But what I will tell you I do is either use it before they get down that path and try it, or use it in a patient after they've come off some of their prescription medicines if it's safe.
Right. Okay.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, Tar.
It is, well, yeah, but
Not a real good answer.
No, I mean, it is though. I mean, and that's one good thing about you. You're not going to lie and be like, well, no, they should just pull them off of it and try. You're like, it's not a fix all.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
It's not. I wish it was, because it'd make my job easier, but it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Be a lot easier. You got a cut on your arm, put some weed on it.
Yeah.
Put
Yeah,
some,
right.
Go call Rick Simpson.
Here's some
He'll
topical.
fix you up.
Here's some
Exactly.
topical. Throw that on there, Band-Aid.
But it's just hard for me to understand how somebody could be so anti-marijuana, but say, somebody like me that takes an SSRI every day, for anxiety. I've always been anxious my entire life. Mainly my problem's always been when I lay down in bed, that brain never stops. So I'd have sleeping problems. Wake up in the middle of the night, same thing. Brain start churning like I should have done this, needed to do that. What color shirt am I going to wear tomorrow? Whatever, just dumb shit nonstop cycling. So take a man-made pharmaceutical, or smoke a little weed. To me, it just seems like a no-brainer, but to most people, it's not. It's still marijuana. But I would choose a more natural way, 10 times out of 10, over doing something along those lines. But that's not the world we live in. I mean, they even have research showing that, an addict benefits from the use of marijuana in a recovery state.
From
Like if they're in rehab,
Yeah.
There's actually other countries that have used, they use marijuana as part of their dependency rehabilitation.
Yeah.
But
Almost-
we look at it as
almost as a reverse gateway drug.
Exactly. It's like, oh, you're giving them, a drug,
You're giving them marijuana to get them off of drugs. Weird.
but they don't think twice about giving them Suboxone
Yeah.
or anything
true.
along those lines, which is a million times worse than probably whatever they were addicted to in the first place.
So here's a stat for you, Matt. So this is Google AI. 25% of drugs prescribed worldwide come from plant source.
Hmm.
So the big one I would mention to you that a lot of people don't understand, opium comes from poppy plants that are grown in Afghanistan. Okay?
Mhm.
So is that scary to think that your pain medicine is coming from who we're fighting?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I would rather my patient take a medicine that was sourced from the United States
Right.
and also maybe even grown locally in Alabama.
Right.
In Scottsboro, maybe.
And so where your medicine is sourced, I think as a country, we need to go back to that and reinvestigate that problem.
Yeah. The billions and billions of dollars that we
Once
pumped
again,
in
we're
there.
going back to the same problem, buddy.
Same thing over and over. It all goes back to the government,
Unfortunately.
But Biden did a whole lot for marijuana. Like you said in his
Yes.
campaign. I mean,
He has. He actually been ahead. I mean, he's been pro cannabis.
He hasn't done everything that he said he was going to
No.
do, but he did try to do a little bit.
And it'll be interesting to see.
Now, if they declassify,
Yeah,
or
if they declassify, it's going to be interesting because I have a DA license, and so does your wife, and I bet she has a Schedule 3 license. Most of them can have up to a Schedule 3. They can write benzos and things of
Right.
that sort. So if they make it a Schedule 3, it will really compromise the state laws. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to work in the workplace, how that's going to work with patients' access. And so I think Alabama, strangely enough, is poised as to be basically a centralized location for cannabis growth, I think. Because we're going to have to walk through. If there's only edibles, you'll wait and see. There'll be all kinds of things that'll come up with that.
Right.
So, but I think at the same time as a descheduling, if you would, if it happens, and our state law may come to fruition, I think that will really accelerate the growth in the state.
I felt like the declassification
Yes.
part, it was definitely good timing for the state of Alabama.
Definitely so. I'm very excited about it.
With everything. When I seen that was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
it
it's
was
really
like,
good.
Finally.
Yeah, it's really exciting, I think.
It really is. What will that change, like you were talking about on the state level? But I mean, it's still not going to change state law. We still have to make improvements on that.
Right. So it'll still, just because the feds say, hey, it's a Schedule 3, Dr. Chad, you have a DEA license, I'd have to practice in a state where it would be legal for me to write. The state also has to grant that authority from the medical board. So under no circumstance, obviously, would I go against anything the medical board says. That's not what I do as a doctor.
Right.
I obey the medical board. So whatever they would decide on how we implemented cannabis would be the rules and regulations we'd proceed with. Unless it was rec. So obviously, in most states that have a rec law, they also have a medical law. And the big difference there is taxes. Taxes are astronomical in states with rec laws. We all know that if you shopped anywhere else.
Right.
So the taxes and then also insurance. Will insurance cover it? Will they not? I think they should if patients are taking it for a medical doctor recommended, nurse practitioner recommended condition.
But we can't have that.
Right. Exactly. But I do think the federal law will spur people to make changes, including states.
Be good. Be real good.
We'll see. Tune in.
Yeah.
2025, right?
Well, I thought they were already supposed to have this
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
all lined out by
Yeah.
now, and it's here we are, 2024, and it was like I thought we were supposed to do this 3 years ago or 2 years ago
Yeah,
or
you're
whenever.
right.
Yeah,
It was. It's been way too long.
and then you always check. I'll think about it randomly, and Google it and be like, let's see what's changed, and it's still the same post from 6 months ago, and it's like, well, obviously nothing's changed.
Yeah, nobody's writing a new article about it. Nothing. Yeah.
Right. You have any understanding of why the stalemate, why it's taking the commission so long to really kind of get things going?
Yeah, so a little bit. I do read the news.
Oh,
so,
and did they ever model it after another state? Have they went by like any other state's laws or anything to try to?
that's a good question. I don't know exactly on that.
I know at one time they were looking at, I forget some state that I read it on in some article that they were thinking about adopting basically what they had done, but then they were like, no, because of the edible part, I believe it was. And I hadn't heard anything much past that. Now it's been probably a year or so.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what the holdup is on that. I mean, and it's really going to be bad, I think, from actually a police jurisdiction standpoint,
Oh,
because
yeah.
Florida is going to go rec this year. I can go ahead and tell you,
Mhm.
Florida will vote to go recreational this end of this year. So everybody, where they go vacation, they go to freaking Florida, right? So
Right.
what are they going to do when they go down there? They're going to get a daily's worth of cannabis and they're going to transport it over the state.
Yep.
So there's going to be issues that are going to be coming up with that. And so I have a lot of buddies in the police force and they deal with all kinds of problems. I don't want to be a thorn in their butt because I know how people are when they are on the medical side. So I wish for the state's sake that we get the law done in a more robust fashion that includes some smokables, because if not, we're going to have a lot of issues with the police.
Right.
And so anyway, that's more of a police type question.
And it's, I know a lot of cops as well, being in the business I'm
Yeah.
in. And it has been nice when you talk to them. Like if they pull somebody over marijuana
Right.
now, they're not going to jail.
Right. They're not.
They're not going to mess with it. They may throw it in the ditch or
Right.
whatever else, but they're not going to arrest them. It's used more as a add-on. If you get caught doing something else stupid and you happen to have some marijuana, but they're going to throw that charge on top of it, just for the hell of it, just to get as much as they can, which I don't blame them. But it is nice to see that they're not just, they're not going after weed. I see
That's not a goal. Yeah.
right. I seen one county, it's a couple of weeks ago, and it was like, a sack of weed, about like that. And they had posted it on their Facebook, like as a congratulatory, bust,
look at what we
like,
got
yeah,
off the streets.
yeah, we got it. And it was like almost 2,000 comments on there, people just giving them a time, just tearing them a new asshole, like, our tax dollars at work and, for a harmless drug and this and that. But it is good you don't see that anymore. You're not, that's definitely a step in the right direction anyways.
Well,
when the cops are not just, going after it, they're starting to, they see too the benefits.
That's really good, though.
It is. It
'Cause,
really
I think
is.
if, working together as a team, we try to do that in healthcare. I think we need to do that with the cannabis thing and start trying to help our patients together and our humans that we live with, our fellow humans, and work together to solve this problem, because I think in the end it'll save everybody money.
Well, I feel like first that line in the sand's got to be kind of erased. It doesn't need to be a left versus right thing anymore. And that's what's going to take the longest, I believe, is
Totally agree.
Is that whole line in the sand, which hell, we got a line in the sand over everything these days.
I was going to say there's nothing that's not.
Right. Anything you do, it's going to piss somebody off. I do a lot to piss people off.
Well, people are more willing to talk about it too now, and all the technology. Look at all
Lord,
the technology, great technology we have here. So, and also, and I'm not a very good public speaker, so I don't like public speaking. So this is a real interesting conversation.
I think I was supposed to do a public speaking for you one time, and I didn't go for some reason. I was like, thank God I didn't have to go up there and talk in front of the Rotary Club.
Yeah.
Wasn't that what it was?
It
Rotary
was.
Club
It was
or some
a Rotary
shit.
Club. Yeah, but I'm not really a big fan of public speaking either. So.
Me either.
Maybe this will be good to hear some people.
I love it. So if you need me to speak, just Give
Yeah,
me a
Will don't
you
give a
wanna do
shit.
it?
I'll speak wherever you want me to. Give me
Will
a
don't care.
speech and I'll say it.
Well, I'll call you then.
Call me.
Next Rotary.
Yeah,
We'll talk about your podcast.
Hey, I'll talk about whatever you
I
want me to
think
talk
Well, I'll
about.
call you.
You read the little Impact Learning luau thing, wasn't
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
I was
yeah.
thinking I saw you.
Yeah, I was there.
Oh, really?
I take his ass. And we're like, where's Will? We're looking around like, where's Will at? You know, he was just standing here out there on the damn dance floor doing like the sprinkler and the
By myself.
by himself. Nobody
Good
else
job,
out there.
Will.
There's
Good
Will
job.
cutting a
I
rug.
bet you had some girls coming out there with you eventually.
He did.
I
Everybody,
did.
yeah.
I did. Yeah. Girlfriend was there with me, so
Oh.
behaved, but
Yeah, Will has no shame.
none. No.
No.
Life of the party,
No.
man.
Absolutely.
That's good.
That's the thing. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna do what makes me happy, and people can say and do what they want to about me, but I promise I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna sleep
Yeah.
mediocre because I have back pain and it's not fun.
Yeah. This is also a guy that kids' Christmas program, you know, the gym's full of people. He comes in fashionably late, dressed as Buddy the Elf. Is he in the program? No. He
I
just
just
shows
showed
up
up.
as Buddy the Elf, you
That's
know, and
funny,
everybody's
man.
like, what the hell?
That's hilarious.
Went to the mall dressed as him a couple days later. I went to Christmas pictures with my kids with Santa at the mall, and I told the Santa, I was like, I'm gonna get a Buddy the Elf costume. I'm gonna come back, and he said, do it. I ordered it on the way home that night, and then did that, and then a couple days later went back to the mall, walked up, and I just looked at him. He was taking pictures with kids. Kids were out there and everything else. I just looked at him. I said, I told you, and that dude. That was the happiest I've ever seen anybody to see me. And I've been married twice.
Well, they definitely wasn't happy to see you.
No.
I don't know where you were trying to make that analogy.
Well, that's fair. At some point they were.
That'd be more of a cringe.
I don't know. At some point they were happy to see me.
At some point. The real early days.
Real early, way back. Yeah.
Before you really got time to get to know each other.
Yeah. Before they realized that I was the type of person that would show up to the kids' Christmas program dressed as Buddy the Elf.
Yeah. Like if people don't know that that's how you are by now, I mean that's
their
their own
fault.
That's like
their
people
fault.
not knowing that I'm an asshole. It's
Right.
it's like, I mean, have you heard anything about me at
Yeah.
all? It's like I definitely have that. It's like that's the one thing that
I
I'm
hadn't
good
heard
at.
that.
God, you don't know
Really?
many people, do you?
No,
You
I
know?
heard that one time.
God, that's a shocker.
Well,
I'm serious.
I need
Honestly,
your
I-
friends then, because even
That's what I
my
was-
friends think
Oh,
I'm an
that's
my
asshole.
what I was
God.
about to say. It's either a shocker or he just has really good friends.
Yeah, they were just being nice. I must have donated to their charity or some shit.
Probably.
I supported their kids'
In
softball
Scottsboro.
team.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you have, yeah.
Oh, he's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, super nice. Give a $50 gift card.
Yeah, baby.
It's little things, you know.
Yeah.
Little things. Can't all be good at everything. We can't all be doctors.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Oh, yeah.
that's
You know,
true.
we can't all be doctors.
That's true.
You know, living with one now,
That's right.
it really makes me realize how dumb I am. You know, because what the hell am I going to do? She's got 2 doctorates. You know, it's like she argues, and I'm like, fuck.
Okay.
Sure,
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, there's no point, because I mean, what is she going to be like? You own a gun store? I'm like, you're a doctor.
Yeah. There's
You win.
You can't. Yeah.
No, I can't argue it.
Combination.
No, yeah, I can't argue that. You know, there's no arguing. She just wins, which is it sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks. I like to win a little bit.
You're gonna have to edit this part out and not let her hear this.
Oh,
You
hell
already
no.
know it.
Her damn head will swell up bigger than it already is. It's ridiculous.
Does she, Matt, does she use any cannabis within her practice? Does she ever recommend things like that to her patients?
CB, yeah.
CBD stuff?
Yeah, she does.
Okay, good.
She does.
How-
She's
what results has
well. See,
she
you know,
seen
she
with,
she was with the clinic at Skyline, and now she's hospitalist at the hospital, and she's doing long-term care at the
awesome
nursing homes. Or
Very
whatever.
good. I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's been doing that
Very
for
cool.
a few months now. But yeah, she's kind of one of those that she was actually gonna be here, and we got kids, so I pushed those off on her. But like, no, you take the kids, I'll have fun. You know, that's part of being in a relationship that I love.
It's hosted by Matt and Will, not Will and Shelby.
Yeah, exactly. Go home. But yeah, she has been really interested in getting more involved in it as the state progresses. That's definitely an interest of hers. She really likes holistic healing and, you know, all that kind of stuff. She's big into the natural remedies, and
That's
she's
awesome.
she's a dirty hippie, real deep down, you know.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So she loves that stuff. But I need to get y'all together. Y'all
Yeah,
could
I'd like
definitely
to
have
meet
some
her, yeah.
conversations. She probably had 100 questions to ask about this that
Oh, anytime,
she's been
man.
wanting opinions on, you know.
Yeah.
But she's definitely pro marijuana in cannabis. I mean, she definitely is.
So on that note, do you know how many nurse practitioners, I don't know nurse practitioners, but how many physicians are pro cannabis nationwide? Do you know how many there are? What percentage would you say? Let me give some choices. 60, 70, 80, 90%.
Oh wow.
I'm
What,
going.
what would you say out of those
I
four?
would say 60 to 70 probably.
What would you say, Will?
I'm saying 90.
Yeah, close to 90.
Really?
86%
That's
of
amazing.
physicians believe it should be legalized medically.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
all forms, not just, you know what I mean, probably not smokables, but in
Right.
all forms,
And that's
not just
understandable.
edibles.
Yeah.
So
the smoking is understandable.
yeah,
I mean, you know.
it's really just the heating, they say, that makes it so unhealthy because the oxidants it causes.
Right.
And also burning tobacco. I'm not advocating vaping tobacco, but
Right.
would it be
Because
healthier?
we don't know what
Right.
this is either.
It could
you
be
know.
healthier though, and patients don't get as sick. I will say that.
You know, it's kind of me being a hypocrite when I say I would never buy a marijuana vape from the gas station, and then here I am buying this Chinese made whatever. Who knows? Probably drinking or smoking formaldehyde or something. But
You probably know that.
I'll probably know in a couple of years when I grow a hand out of my ass from smoking these things for like 12 years now. I've been smoking this since people didn't even know what it was. You know, back in
What,
like
is that a
the
certain kind?
oh no, I'm just saying a vape
The vapor,
in
yeah.
general.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like I quit smoking cigarettes, went to vaping. I remember we could walk down downtown Nashville, people stop me, "Are you smoking marijuana?" And it's like, no, like I'm smoking nicotine, and they'd be mind blown because they'd never seen it. You know, this is back in the big stick things. You know,
Yeah.
ridiculous. But yeah, so I guess that's maybe kind of being a hypocrite, but people definitely shouldn't buy marijuana from a gas station.
No.
Well,
Either way. Don't forget spice. Don't forget bath salts.
yeah. Well, and I think the difference in buying that from a gas station versus marijuana is you can take, 50 rips off that thing right here, and it might give you a headache from all the nicotine.
Right.
That's about it.
I'm talking more about the other chemicals that we don't know what the hell it is that's in it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, the reason you can buy that and why it's not hypocritical is, yeah, we don't know what's in it. I mean, you do run that risk, but right now, what's present is nothing. Whereas, who's to say you're not going to go buy gummies from the Citgo or wherever and get something laced with who knows what?
Right. Exactly.
At least, I mean, the amount of vapes sold per day, just regular nicotine vapes, versus gummies and this, that, and the other. The numbers, I'm sure, are nowhere.
Astronomical, probably.
Yeah, but they're nowhere near one another, and you don't hear. I mean, yeah, what was it? The vapes that were like blowing up or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But
I'd love to see that happen in person. That'd be pretty fun.
I mean,
because it's not you.
Yeah, as long as it ain't me. Yeah, I've seen like people missing teeth and stuff from that.
yeah, but like you're smoking a cigarette,
Right. Not quite as taboo.
right? But I don't know if it was regulated,
Exactly.
it'd be the best,
We're working on it.
just like alcohol. Yeah, I don't, like I said,
That's why you pay attention to who you vote for.
I'm way out of it. I'm not, never been into smoking, never, again, not against it, but I have read and, done research on it and this, that, and the other, and it's way safer than alcohol.
Oh yeah, I'd take a pothead over a drunk any day of the week.
Yeah, I think I don't. Dr. Chad over here has a look on his face like he wants to add to that. I don't know, but
so I mean, it just goes back to the same thing we were talking about before. Opiates and alcohol can kill you.
right,
Directly harm and kill you.
weed can't.
No, that is a plain, simple, non-negotiable medical fact.
And that's all it should take. Talking about nearly 90% of medical doctors are on board for it, want it to be legalized medically.
People still think they know better unless they have a flu.
They do.
Why does the government have any say in that? Like you said, you were talking about it earlier.
they're not medical doctors.
No,
They're not.
And the majority of the people like Fauci, I'll use him. He's never practiced like I do clinical medicine. It would almost be like taking a general and putting him in charge that's never worked and never shot a gun. Why in the world, or never actually been on the front line, but you put him in charge. And so a lot of medical in charge people, i.e. CEOs, presidents of hospitals and whatnot, have never worked in the field.
Right.
And politicians too. And they're making decisions for people's health. Shame on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Health Canada is what governs their health. If you've traveled a lot, you'd understand that. Health Canada is comprised of physicians, pharmacists, therapists, psychologists, all the health people that make decisions about their country's health. It's not politicians that make the decisions. We have to get back to that in this country.
Absolutely. I think that's a pretty good point to kind of close out on, but vote.
Yes.
I mean,
absolutely.
Vote.
Big time. The young
Do your
people.
research.
Yeah.
Like, don't think marijuana is just the devil.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, do your research, see what it benefits, and it could benefit you. I mean, it benefits me. It's benefited a million others. It's natural. I mean, why would you not open your mind a little bit and at least consider it as an option? I mean, I think you're crazy these days to not.
Yeah.
More than the other way around. So, well, Chad, we appreciate you coming in, buddy.
Thanks for inviting me, buddy.
Definitely. Bradford Wellness Center, Parks Avenue. Is that right?
We're on Harley Street, so we're over between the jail and the hospital.
Jail and the hospital.
And the cornfield. Don't forget that.
Yeah, the big cornfield there. Right.
Yeah.
That's how you give directions.
That's
on
right.
Alabama.
Yeah.
You turn left by the cornfield.
Yeah, we're over there.
Right past the third power pole.
Yeah.
You know.
Right before you get to the second Dollar General on that road.
But Tabitha is my front girl, and she's real.
I know Tabitha.
She's real educated in cannabis. So
Yeah.
if you're new to cannabis, come by and see us. She'll walk you through it. If she has any major questions, I can be glad to help you too. Jump in and talk to you. We want to try to spread the word.
And you've got plenty of other stuff there too.
Tons of other stuff.
Right.
Yeah, for vitamins, minerals. We have weight loss stuff that's really doing good right now. Lots of stuff.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
On that note, you're wanting to add, like Shelby and all those to the
commission or
the what you just became president of.
So the patient advocacy group for medical cannabis law. Yes.
Anybody,
if you have anybody that's an RN, LPN, any speech pathology, CRNA, any medical degree, if you can get in touch with me somehow, come by the store.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Either come by your store, shoot the page a message, and we'll get you in contact with him.
Yep.
And then I have a Facebook page, Bradford Wellness Co. You can get on there and shoot me a message.
We'll put the link up too.
And try to get together and help everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man. That's awesome. Thanks for coming, buddy.
Hell yeah.
Enjoyed it. Thank y'all for having me.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all.
Good, pretty good. Buddy.
Hell yeah. Enjoyed it. Thank y'all for having me.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all.
Good, pretty good.